Ice Apocalypse. This is how you can stock up on the greatest beauties. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276 Wave After Wave of Shock. Next, Xialuo asked Wu Jin and the others to divide themselves into several groups of people, and then go to other refugee ships to recruit people. Why do this? Because just relying on the 20 or so of them to defeat the thugs in Ocean City tomorrow will definitely not be enough. They don't have Xialuo's supernatural abilities. Xialuo believes that as long as other refugee camps know that there are weapons, there will definitely be people who are not afraid of death. Just like in the history of China, every time when the country is in crisis, some people will choose to surrender to the enemy in exchange for glory and wealth, and some will choose to be wise to protect themselves. But there will always be people who come out to shed blood. When their team becomes larger and they have weapons in hand, they will naturally have more courage and a better chance of winning, and this time, Xialuo did not fool them. As long as they are brave enough to stand up and resist this time, they will receive generous rewards when they survive. Wu Jin and the others followed Xialuo's instructions and quickly left in the dark. Speaking of which, Wu Jin and the others would also like to thank the people in power in Ocean City, because the people in power in Ocean City were very conceited and were not afraid of the people in the refugee camp doing something small at night. They did not arrange any soldiers to guard the people in the refugee camp. In this way, Wu Jin and the others could take advantage of darkness to contact more people. Of course, the main reason why the people in power in Ocean City are like this is because Ocean City has no electricity. It is said that even on that super cruise ship, only a few rooms have electricity at night, so they arranged for people to guard the refugee camp in the dark. But it was actually not necessary. In addition, even in the outermost area, there are patrol boats patrolling at night. So they are not afraid of people in the refugee camp making trouble or escaping. But no matter what, it is indeed convenient for Wu Jin and the others to recruit more people. Wait until Wu Jin and others leave. Xialuo discovered that with Wu Jin and the others there, it seemed that the operation to eliminate Ocean City had nothing to do with him anymore. What Charlotte has to do next is very simple. First, when it was later, Xialuo went to the weapons depot on the Blue Star. Sun never sets, and took all the guns and ammunition from the weapons depot. Of course, this also includes other equipment in that weapon, such as walkie-talkies, explosion-proof shields, etc. Second, after Wu Jin and his crew are in place tomorrow, Xialuo will use drones to provide them with intelligence. When they attack the core area of Ocean City, try to let Wu Jin and others die as few people as possible. Xialuo felt that this was in line with his style. After all, Xialuo had always aspired to be the sixth person behind the scenes. Anything dangerous is not what he wants, but this time, Xialuo did not trick or force Wu Jin and others, nor was he using them as cannon fodder. Xialuo and Wu Jin can only take what they need and cooperate with each other. Wu Jin and the others were actually fighting for themselves, because without this opportunity provided by Xialuo, most of the Chinese people living in the refugee camps would eventually die in humiliation. It was getting late, and Xialuo felt that it was time to have dinner. And what's interesting is that the sky was originally dark before, but when Xialuo was about to eat, there were stars and a crescent moon in the sky. And there happened to be some light, Xialuo thought, and some food suddenly appeared in his hand. Then Xialuo sat down in front of Xiao Lingling and said to the little girl, "Xiao Lingling, come here, let's have a meal together." With that said, Xialuo opened all the food he took out, and a delicious fragrance suddenly filled the air. Then little Lingling looked straight at it first and couldn't help but exclaimed, "Ah, it's a Mikin chicken family bucket." That's right. Although Xialuo brought out a lot of food, what attracted little Lingling the most was naturally the family bucket with the little old man on the package. Before the end of the world, although these were called junk food, their appeal to children was definitely huge. Even Xialuo sometimes eats there once in a while. After being reborn in this life, Xialuo hoarded tens of thousands of servings. After all, they would disappear in the future. He would hoard more because he was afraid that he would occasionally want to eat them in the future. But speaking of it, Xialuo just still hoarded too much, because neither Xialuo nor his women seemed to be very interested in this kind of food. So a few months have passed, and the number of Family Mart buckets in Charlotte's system space has decreased by less than 20 buckets. Among these 20 barrels, 18 barrels were eaten by my younger sister, Xiao Panpin. Xialuo and his many women combined together only eliminated 2 barrels. So according to how many family buckets Xialuo has hoarded, without the help of his sister Xiao Panpin, It might be enough for Li Xiaoluo and the others to last for 100 lifetimes. This time Li Xiaoluo planned to treat Xiao Lingling, a little girl, to dinner. The first thing that came to his mind was this kind of family dinner? Sure enough, Li Xiaoluo was right. This now has a huge attraction for the little girl. In fact, isn't Li Xiaoluo talking nonsense? The family bucket he took out was not suitable for people like Xiao Lingling who already like to eat it before the end. Which of the survivors on this ship is not swallowing saliva crazily? After all, even the unpalatable bread made in Ocean City is still delicious in their eyes. But when the people on the ship were almost exhausted, many people finally realized. Then a look of shock suddenly appeared on their faces. That's not right. How could there be food like family bucket at this time? And look at the packaging and the condition. It looks like it's just been packaged from McKin chicken, of course. What shocked more people was that when Li Xiaoluo appeared before, the sky could still be seen, so they clearly saw clearly. But Li Xiaoluo didn't seem to take anything. The clothes he wore were also very thin and he couldn't hide anything on his body. How did so much food come out? Then, thinking that Li Xiaoluo also appeared suddenly, many people suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Of course, some people were shocked and some were thinking wildly, but there were also some people who subconsciously stood up after seeing the delicious food Li Xiaoluo brought out, because the food Li Xiaoluo brought out was not Li Zilang's unpalatable bread. Facing that bread, they could barely resist the temptation, but in front of these delicacies, many people's eyes have begun to glow green. This is just like before the end of the world. If someone goes out with tens of thousands of dollars in cash, everyone may just watch the excitement, but if someone goes out with tens of millions in cash, it may be tempting to commit a crime. Everyone, please be honest. Whoever I give it to can eat it. If I don't give it to you, it has nothing to do with you. If someone is not afraid of death, then just give it a try. As he spoke, Li Xiaoluo suddenly had a submachine gun in his hand, and it also had a silencer. If someone is dishonest, then kill a few of them to become honest. And this scene immediately made many people dumbfounded. Li Xiaoluo gave them one shock after another. Then everyone looked at Li Xiaoluo, their eyes full of fear, because Li Xiaoluo is so mysterious and a bit inhuman. Chapter 277. Chicken bones are delicious. Seeing that no one dared to move, Li Xiaoluo waved to Xiao Lingling. Little girl, I asked you to come over and eat. Why don't you move? Although Li Xiaoluo was kind-hearted, and Xiao Lingling was also full of desire for the food in front of Li Xiaoluo, but after the apocalypse, children are already timid, and Li Xiaoluo was furious with everyone just now, so Xiao Lingling is also afraid of Li Xiaoluo. However, little Lingling did not dare to disobey Li Xiaoluo's order. She quickly looked at her grandmother Li Zilang next to her for help. Li Zilang nodded to Xiao Lingling. Go ahead, you can eat what uncle gives you, but you must be sensible. Li Zilang could feel that Li Xiaoluo seemed to have no ill intentions toward her and her granddaughter, and was even more special and kind than to others. And if Li Xiaoluo really wants to harm them, there is no need to be hypocritical, because they can't resist at all in this post-apocalyptic world. There are no rules that can restrain him, so Li Zilang simply let Xiao Lingling eat. Anyway, just listen to Li Xiaoluo and do it. After hearing what Grandma said, Xiao Lingling nodded, then walked to Li Xiaoluo in small steps, and bowed politely. Thank you, Uncle. Li Xiaoluo touched his chin. This little Lingling was about the same age as Xiao Panpin, Li Xiaoluo's recognized sister. He was still an older brother to Xiao Panpin, so why did he become an uncle to her? Li Xiaoluo feels that he is still the little brother. However, Li Xiaoluo just thought about it casually and did not correct the little girl's name. I saw that although the little Lingling was trying hard to look at me, her little eyes had already glanced at the food from time to time. Children, no matter how sensible they are, can't hide their thoughts, but Li Xiaoluo didn't eat first, so she didn't dare to do anything. Li Xiaoluo smiled, then picked up a bowl of chicken soup and handed it to the little girl. Drink some chicken soup first, and then eat the family bucket. It will be good for your health. Thank you, Uncle. Little Lingling quickly took the chicken soup. If it was before the end of the world, she actually didn't like drinking chicken soup very much, but in the post-apocalypse, any food that tastes better than Ocean City's bread is delicious. After arranging for Xiao Lingling, Li Xiaoluo himself started eating and drinking. However, everyone on the boat was in a state of extreme suffering. Everyone even looked at little Lingling eagerly, because the little girl had finished chewing a piece of chicken and was holding the chicken bones in her hand, and what they want is the chicken bone. There might be a trace of meat on it. They haven't eaten meat in a long time, and maybe the chicken bones are stewed a little softer, and they can chew even the bone residue, which is still delicious. Even Li Zilang, Xiao Lingling's grandmother, looked at the chicken bones in her granddaughter's hand. There is no way. She doesn't have the life of her granddaughter, so she doesn't expect to eat chicken. She can just take a bite of chicken bones, and she will be satisfied. Uncle, can I give a few pieces of chicken to my grandma? Xiaolingling mustered up her courage at this time, and then looked at Li Xiaoluo. Originally, she wanted to give her grandma food first, but she was a little afraid of Li Xiaoluo, so she didn't dare to say it. But when she saw grandma's eyes, Xiaolingling felt that she had courage. Li Xiaoluo didn't speak, just nodded. After all, although the bread he ate in his previous life was given to him by a little girl, in the final analysis, it was actually Li Xiaolingling who paid for it with her life. Thank you, Uncle. Xiaolingling got Li Xiaoluo's approval and happily threw away the chicken bones she had chewed in her hands, and then ran to Li Xiaolingling with chicken soups for the chicken bone that Xiaolingling threw away. As expected, everyone on the boat started to scramble for it. One man was the fastest and looked happy after grabbing the chicken bone. It didn't take long for Li Xiaoluo and Xiaolingling to finish all the food. However, many people on the entire ship also had happy faces on their faces, because they relied on their skills to get a lot of leftovers in this situation. No one finds this behavior embarrassing, and many people who can survive to this day have experienced too many things. For example, being beaten, scolded and humiliated, eating spoiled and moldy food, or even drinking your own urine. Compared with the discomfort of hunger and death, face and other things are not worth mentioning at all. After having a meal together, little Lingling was no longer so afraid of Li Xiaoluo. The little girl felt so happy staying with Li Xiaoluo since the floods came. Little Lingling has been living in sadness and fear. First, their grandfather died, and then their father died. All their food was gone, and they were caught here by a group of bad guys. Then there was the constant hunger, which was really uncomfortable, but the appearance of Li Xiaoluo made her feel the beauty of life again. I really wish my uncle could stay here forever. Little Lingling took advantage of the night to secretly look at Li Xiaoluo, praying secretly in her heart. If Li Xiaoluo knew what the little girl was thinking, he would definitely spank her. Little, but I gave you food to eat, but you actually want me to stay here as a slave. But Li Xiaoluo came here this time to make this place no longer exist, so he couldn't stay here even if he wanted to. At around 11 o'clock in the evening, Wu Jin came back with Fatty and all of them. Yes, Fatty also joined Wu Jin's team. In Li Xiaoluo's memory, Fatty was always very timid at first. In this life, Fatty seems to have awakened his courage earlier than in his previous life. Then, Wu Jin reported to Li Xiaoluo the situation. They had just gone out. They visited all the refugee camps in the periphery in the dark, and then more than 50 people were willing to follow them to uprising. The reason why not many people in other refugee camps dare to come forward may be that some people simply don't believe the mysterious man Li Xiaoluo Wu Jin calls. After all, they were not on the boat in refugee camp number 18 and did not see the mystery of Li Xiaoluo with their own eyes. Some people think it is the god-man imagined by Wu Jin and others, so they don't want to follow him and die. But including Wu Jin and the others, there were already more than 70 people, and Li Xiaoluo felt that it was enough. As the saying goes, a soldier lies in his skill, not in his numbers. If he just wanted more people to make up the numbers, Li Xiaoluo would definitely be able to attract more people if he let Wu Jin and the others use coercion and inducement. But those who are dragged along to make up the numbers are not the ones who really have the courage to stand up and resist. At that time, those foreigners might just fire a shot, causing them to tremble with fear, then lie on the ground and surrender, which would actually affect their morale. And as long as there are thermal weapons, the number of people will never affect the situation of the battle. Just when Wu Jin reported the situation to Li Xiaoluo, the fat man who had just returned to the ship was crying. He felt that he had missed 100 million. It's so heartbreaking. It turns out that the fat man learned from the people who stayed on the ship that Li Xiaoluo had just changed a lot of delicious food, and there were also buckets for the whole family. The speaker also showed off in front of the fat man. He also grabbed a piece of chicken bones from the fried chicken. You can even chew the bones of the fried chicken. It was so delicious. Fried chicken, that was Fatty's favorite in the past. He missed that taste so much. Even the bones would do. But the fat man soon cried, because Li Xiaoluo really threw a bucket of fried chicken to him. At this moment, even if Li Xiaoluo asked Fatty to call him his biological father, Fatty would still be willing to do so. Li Xiaoluo ignored the fat man, gave him some food, and let him be free tomorrow. This could be regarded as a fate from his previous life. At this time, Li Xiaoluo had already turned his attention to the weapons depot in Ocean City. It's so late and the guards there are already lax. Moreover, Li Xiaoluo has not used up the number of teleports today, so he just needs to go to the weapons depot before 12 o'clock. Chapter 278 Secret Room. The 8th floor of the Blue Star Never Sets cruise ship in Ocean City. Before the apocalypse, this floor was the VIP building of the Blue Star Never Sets cruise ship. After the apocalypse, this entire floor became the city owner. Williams' private property after all. In the post-apocalyptic world, people's hearts are unpredictable, so Williams naturally pays special attention to his own safety even for his women. Williams would drive them to live in the room downstairs after they were done playing because some of those women were forced by him, and some were given to him by several other deputy city lords. Who knows if those women would suddenly wipe his neck while he was sleeping. In Ocean City, Williams is like a local emperor. With absolute power, but he is destined to be lonely and needs to be on guard against everyone at all times. He doesn't have Xialuo's exploratory eyes to know which of his subordinates can be trusted and which of them are malicious to him. In the post-apocalypse, everyone will wear a disguised mask, so no one dares to trust him 100%. Williams knows that there are many people who want to replace him, so he must always be alert. However, tonight, Williams felt inexplicably irritable just now. He couldn't sleep. So he called the 2 concubines downstairs, and then vented his desires on them. However, after driving the 2 women downstairs again, Williams' irritable mood did not seem to be relieved much. Should we continue to call a few women to come up? However, Williams felt that something was wrong with him, and his irritability is not because of women. Williams was able to run a great business before the end and make the business bigger and stronger. In fact, he had a special ability that is, every time something bad happens, he will start to feel uneasy. So before the end, he was allowed to escape several dangers. But where does the danger come from this time? Was someone under his command trying to harm him, or the enemies that Gao Jiaqiang and the others provoked today? In fact, ever since he heard Gao Jiaqiang say that there were bombs among the Chinese survivors found today, he had been feeling a little uneasy, as if something big was about to happen. Shit. Williams cursed. Then he got up from the bed and walked out of the bedroom. Then Williams came to his study and pushed 2 books on the bookshelf at the same time. Suddenly the bookshelf rotated, and then a passage appeared in front of him. It turns out that his study actually has a secret room. Williams walked into the secret room and looked at the contents. There was a large amount of gold, jewelry, cash, and even one of the largest and most valuable diamonds. Before the end of the world, no one knows that before the end of the world, Williams did not keep his wealth in the bank, but basically hid it on this super cruise ship. Of course, these things are worthless now. Williams came to this secret room this time not to admire these trash products. Williams walked up to a very ordinary looking lucky cat, then stretched out his big hairy hand and slowly touched the lucky cat. Baby, as long as you are here, I am not afraid of anyone. At worst, everyone will die together. Haha. Williams burst out laughing and his eyes turned crazy. Haha, my close men and the old deputy city lords. I told them that I installed a remote-controlled bomb on this super cruise ship, so even if they have ambitions in their hearts, they will not find out the bomb before. They don't dare to mess around at all. They can only be my dogs. It's a pity that even if I tell them that there is a remote-controlled bomb on the cruise ship, they will never find where the bomb is even if they dig through the cruise ship. And the bomb I installed on this cruise ship is not an ordinary remote-controlled bomb, but it costs a lot of money to install it, the most advanced super remote control bomb. And the remote control is myself. When the time comes, even if we really encounter the Chinese army, I won't be afraid of them. I have countless hostages in my hands, and they will definitely use their weapons to stop them. Even if they really want to be tough, we can just perish together. Before the end of the world, Williams made a fortune from great business. Even though he later came out clean, he always prepared for the worst. That's why he had a lot of weapons on this super cruise ship when it was still a peaceful time. He even left this last hand. In fact, Williams would not come to this secret room unless absolutely necessary, but today he felt too bad. That's why he came here to take a look, because this way he can feel at ease. After checking that everything was normal, Williams left the secret room with confidence. However, what Williams didn't expect when he was beaten to death was that everything he did just now was seen by others. Then, as soon as he left the secret room, a man suddenly appeared in the secret room. Xialuo looked at the secret room in front of him and thought of what Williams had just heard. Xialuo was also a little speechless. Isn't this a super cruise ship used by rich people before the end of the world? It was like a terrorist attack. And a super bomb was installed. If those rich people before the end of the world knew that they were playing on such a terrifying ship, I wonder how they would feel. And Xialuo was also lucky that he had been monitoring Williams, otherwise he might not have been able to discover the secret room. Of course, because Xialuo was relatively old, He never thought of dealing with these foreigners himself, so even if Xialuo doesn't discover the secret room in the end, it won't be Xialuo who will be unlucky, but Wu Jin and the others. Xialuo is directing it behind the scenes. When the time comes, the entire cruise ship will explode, and then the entire ocean city will explode. Xialuo can also teleport to a safe place. However, now that he discovered this secret room, Xialuo naturally did not hesitate. He directly collected everything in the secret room into the system space, then Xialuo teleported directly and appeared in the sea 500 meters away, and then directly threw the remote-controlled bomb into the sea. Xialuo teleported back to the secret room again. After collecting the contents of the secret room, Xialuo teleported to the weapons depot on the ship. This is Xialuo's real goal. After all, if Wu Jin and others want to deal with Williams and others tomorrow, they will need Williams to provide Wu Jin and others with weapons. In fact, in order to control Ocean City's absolute power, Williams locked most of his weapons and ammunition in the arsenal, and only he had the key. As for the soldiers under him, as well as the deputy city lords, only a small number of them were given ammunition for their guns. Unless he encounters a very powerful enemy, he will open the weapons arsenal and then send out all the guns and ammunition. But now these guns and ammunition are all cheaper than Xialuo. No. It was because Wu Jin and the others were given an advantage. After all, Wu Jin and the others still need these weapons to fight. When Xialuo collected all the weapons in Williams' arsenal into the system space, he also collected some of his treasured food and other supplies. Xialuo was planning to teleport back to refugee camp number 18. After all, killing people would have to wait until tomorrow. However, in the side of the drone that continued to monitor Williams, Xialuo saw something more interesting. Chapter 279 Princess Alice. After Williams came out of the secret room, he did not go directly to his bedroom to sleep, but went to a room next to his bedroom. In fact, although Williams did not allow outsiders to stay overnight on the 8th floor of the Blue Star, sun never sets, not even the women and maids who served him. There was one exception. Boom, boom, boom. Williams stood at the door and knocked politely, but there was silence in the room, and no one responded to Williams. Your Highness Princess Alice, could you open the door? I know you can hear me. Williams stood at the door of the room and shouted into the room slowly. Of course he spoke in Yingjiang Mandarin. It's very late, I've already gone to bed. After a while, a woman's cold voice finally came from the room. Well, then I'm sorry to disturb your rest, Princess. But I believe you will be willing to get up and open the door for me, right? I'm sorry, I'm very sleepy right now and don't want to open the door for you. Can we talk about anything tomorrow? Tomorrow? It seems a bit difficult. After saying that, Williams didn't wait for the woman in the room to speak. Then he took out a key from his body, opened the door of the room and walked in. Williams walked into the room and turned on the power switch on the wall. Suddenly, the originally dark room became brighter. Mr. Williams, isn't it a bit ungentlemanly for you to break into a lady's room without my permission? Alice's eyes were cold, and she looked at Williams, who entered the room directly, and asked, this is a very luxurious room, with a size of several hundred square meters. The carpet is the top handmade wool carpet before the end of the world. The oil paintings hanging on the walls are also authentic works by famous artists before the end of the world. Each painting will be worth at least tens of millions, but in the whole room, the most eye-catching thing is the woman standing next to the big bed. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. She is wearing a lace pajamas. She is sexy yet dignified. She has an angel-like face and a devil-like sexy and fiery figure. What a beauty in the world. There is also a woman who is very tall. Even though she is only wearing cloth slippers now, she is at least 1.8 meters tall. Her long and fair legs are also very eye-catching. Although Williams has become somewhat immune to the women in front of him, and he is also a man who has seen countless beauties, but at this time, Williams couldn't help but feel a little moved. Not only is the beauty of the woman in front of her breathtaking, but her sexy figure makes men excited. And there is also a feeling that the harder something is to get, the more interested he is. Faced with Alice's question, Williams didn't take it to heart. He smiled slightly and said, Her Royal Highness Princess Alice, the entire cruise ship belongs to me. I think I have the right to enter any place on the cruise ship, including your room. Then, Williams looked at Alice with fiery eyes. Her Royal Highness Princess Alice, I wonder what you are thinking about. The beautiful Alice's eyes flickered, and she looked at Williams. Mr. Williams, it's so late, and you broke into my room so rudely, just to ask this. Williams nodded and said, yes, and this time, I hope Your Royal Highness Princess Alice can give me a satisfactory answer. The reason why Williams calls Her Royal Highness Princess Alice is not an intimate nickname for Alice. It's because Alice was the princess of a certain royal family in the West before the end, and she was the most beautiful and sexy princess before the end of the world. Alice was also one of the most distinguished guests on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets. At that time, even though Williams was amazed when he saw her, he didn't dare to think anything wrong about Alice. However, after the apocalypse, Williams became the dictator on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship, and everyone had to obey his orders. Alice, the noble princess before the apocalypse, is no exception. She no longer has the noble status she had before. After the apocalypse, she will just be a beautiful woman. Therefore, Williams proposed to make Alice his woman and the hostess of the Blue Star Sun Never Sets, because although there are many beauties on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets, many of them are the playthings of rich people, the kind of money-worshipping women who will do anything for money. Naturally, Williams felt that those women were not worthy of his current noble status. Only Alice, who is beautiful, sexy and noble, Williams believes that she is qualified to be the hostess. However, Alice did not agree to Williams because she did not like the ruthless Williams at all. Faced with Alice's rejection, no one dared to disobey Williams' decision since he became the dictator of the Blue Star Sun Never Sets, let alone reject him regardless of whether they are men or women. Anyone who dares to reject him will basically die miserably, especially women. As long as Williams likes them, he can just grab them and throw them on the bed. The more she resists, the more excited he becomes. But for Alice, Williams naturally wouldn't kill her, and he didn't even force her. He wants Alice to become his queen willingly, because other women are the tools for him to vent, but after venting, he will either kill them or imprison them. He does not dare to keep them by his side because he is afraid that they will have hatred in their hearts. And when he goes to bed at night, be careful. As for Princess Alice, Williams wanted her to be the hostess, so naturally he couldn't use force. Williams placed Alice next to his room, and then restricted her freedom and food, hoping that she could think clearly on her own. Originally, Williams was not in a hurry. After all, Alice was also a princess. He didn't want to use force. He had plenty of time to tame the golden cat. However, Williams' uneasiness tonight made him completely lose his patience. Williams has already made a decision in his heart. No matter what Alice decides, he will get her tonight. If she takes the initiative, then by chance, she can still become the mistress of the entire Ocean City and the most noble woman in Ocean City. If Alice is still ignorant, then after Williams gets her, he will treat her like one of those lowly female slaves and call her to vent when necessary, because he will not let a woman who has hatred for him become the hostess of Ocean City. Looking at Williams, who did not hide his desire in his eyes, Alice's beautiful and delicate face showed a hint of uneasiness. In fact, Alice had already guessed something from Williams' series of rude actions just now. After all, Williams had always behaved like a gentleman in front of her in the past. Chapter 280, Prescribing the Medicine. Happy Lantern Festival to everyone. Mr. Williams, it's too late today. I need to sleep. Is there anything we can discuss tomorrow? Alice did seem to understand what Williams meant, and said in a pitiful tone. Alice knew that she had no way to escape from here, so her method every time was to delay. Every time she saw Williams speaking in a tough tone, her attitude would become more tactful. In this way, in order to behave like a gentleman in front of her, Williams never forced himself. However, Alice will be disappointed this time. Williams had always been patient and behaved in a gentlemanly manner before. That was because he never lacked women, but only lacked a hostess who he could trust. All of Alice's conditions happened to meet his standards, and everything was under his control, so Williams was in the mood to play with Alice. But now, Williams is not in the mood to play with Alice anymore, because if something really happens, he has been coveting Alice for so long, but in the end he takes advantage of someone else, then isn't he a pure injustice? So tonight, no matter what Alice's attitude is, Williams will not let her go. Your Highness Princess Alice, I think what I said has been very clear. And my patience is also limited. I have given you enough respect. I hope you won't let me use force. With that said, Williams walked towards Alice. Alice subconsciously dodged to the side. Suddenly, Williams's face darkened, and his originally irritable mood suddenly became more irritable. He had tolerated Alice enough and gave her enough time to think about it, but he didn't expect that she would still have this attitude. Alice, UBCH, do you really think you are so noble now? Let me tell you, as long as I am willing, I can immediately turn you into a stinky BCH who can do anything for anyone, and make you even lower than a prostitute. Now, as the Lord of Ocean City, I order you to roll over to me immediately, kneel at my feet, and then pick up my feet and call me master. Otherwise, after I have played with you enough, I will reward you to those old men in Sakura country. You will know how perverted they are by then." Alice looked at Williams, who looked crazy in front of her. She suddenly took out a dagger from her body, and then put the dagger directly on her white neck. "Williams, I really haven't thought about it yet. If you force me again, then all you can get is my corpse." "Oh, Alice, okay, you win. I really can't bear to let you get hurt. You should put down your weapon quickly. I won't force you anymore." Seeing Alice's crazy behavior, William seemed very shocked. It seemed that he was both shocked that Alice had gotten the dagger from nowhere, and also shocked that she even risked her life in order to resist him. Alice saw that her last trick seemed to work, and a glimmer of hope suddenly flashed on her face. However, she did not dare to let down her guard and looked at Williams with deep eyes. "Mr. Williams, thank you, but can you please leave my room first?" Williams rubbed his hands together, as if he was a little annoyed and confused, but he still said, "Okay, I'll leave, but Her Royal Highness Princess Alice, I hope you can finally figure out why you should follow me in this doomsday world. This is your best choice. Otherwise, if you fall into the hands of another man, you may not be treated so well." "Mr. Williams, I know, so I'm very grateful to you. But I'm really not mentally ready yet. Can you give me a little more time, now?" Alice doesn't want to irritate Williams anymore, so she also becomes very grateful. But Alice didn't notice that when Williams was rubbing his hands, he twisted his ring towards Alice. Then, Alice felt a slight pain in her body, as if she had been bitten by an ant. But Alice was looking at Williams very nervously, and she didn't have time to care about this little thing, and Williams seemed to really give up. Turning around as if he was about to leave, Alice breathed a sigh of relief. However, suddenly a feeling of powerlessness came over. Snap! The dagger in Alice's hand fell to the ground, and Alice herself slowly collapsed to the ground. "Hey, Her Royal Highness Princess Alice, what's wrong with you? Do you need my help?" Williams, who had just taken 2 steps toward the door, suddenly noticed Alice's condition and hurriedly came over with a concerned look. Alice tried hard to stand up, but she felt herself getting weaker and weaker, and finally she could only lie softly on the ground. "Williams, what exactly did you do to me?" Alice is not a fool, and she has always been in good health, so this sudden accident was definitely caused by the man in the room. When Williams saw that Alice had seen through it, he no longer concealed it. He even stopped being nice to Alice and directly revealed his true colors. Snap! Williams slapped Alice directly on the face, and then said with a ferocious expression, "You BCH, you ungrateful BCH, I gave you so long time to think about it, and I also gave you enough preferential treatment. You this BCH is so ignorant." Alice was so weak that she could only be beaten passively, but compared to the pain on her face, her heart was even colder, because she knows that now that Williams has plotted against her, it will be difficult for her to die. Williams looked at the frightened Alice, with a cruel sneer on his face. "BCH, I gave you the best choice, but you just like to pretend to be noble. Since you want to pretend, I won't let you pretend, and I will let you live in humiliation and regret every day." After speaking, Williams took out 2 pills from his body, and then he found water. He swallowed 1 blue pill himself, and then another pill, which Williams force-fed Alice. "Williams, UBD, what did you feed me?" Alice desperately wanted to resist, but she had no strength to resist. After Williams gave Alice the pill, he did not pounce directly on Alice, but then took off her pajamas, revealing her perfect body. Williams just stood aside and admired Alice's beauty, then smiled and said, "Your Highness Princess Alice, you are so beautiful. You are indeed a gift from the Creator, so don't worry, what I feed you is not poison. I can't bear to poison you to death. It's just a drug that can make you more active. Then you will no longer pretend to be aloof, but will actively ask for help. Let me play with you." Chapter 281. You too, why are you so interested? Time passes. Alice felt that the temperature in the room was getting higher and higher, and she seemed to slowly regain some strength, but hot, so hot. Alice's eyes became more and more blurred, and then her originally alluring face was stained with a seductive blush, and her whole person became even more charming. Slowly, Alice couldn't control the heat in her body and reached out to her pajamas. Williams quietly admired Alice's plump body from the side, and she would soon see it in person. In addition, Williams also took medicine, so at this time, his mouth began to become dry. Williams walked over and carried Alice to the big bed. Smelling the delicate fragrance of Alice, Williams became even more restless. The smell of this beautiful woman really smelled good. I wonder if the feeling of waiting will be more enjoyable than that of other women. Speaking of which, he has never played with a princess before. Williams, UBD. Don't touch me, Alice. Barely had any consciousness at this time, so she tried hard to push Williams away. After Williams threw Alice on the big bed, he smiled and said, "Your Highness, don't worry," I said. "I will not use force on you. I want you to beg me to play with you like a BCH, and when the time comes, I will reward you to my subordinates so that they can play with you. Aren't you always pretending to be noble for me? Let me see if you are still noble in the future." Alice felt anxious, but her consciousness was no longer under her control. Alice's hands began to pull her pajamas, and then a piece of fair skin was exposed, and the two large headlights seemed to be bottomless. William's eyes lit up, as if he hadn't seen the body of the opposite sex for many years. His eyes were shining. It's really a different feeling to have a noble and elegant beauty take the initiative to take off her clothes and then sink a little bit, but looking at Alice's plump body and her blurred eyes, Williams really can't stand it. At this time, Williams still admired Alice. According to his previous experience with some women, Alice should have pounced on him at this time, but I didn't expect that Alice could still hold back now. However, Williams discovered that Alice's body was almost reaching its limit. Williams swallowed, and then he took off his clothes directly, revealing his white body, leaving only his shorts at this time. Alice couldn't bear it anymore, and her soft and white body leaned towards Williams. "Haha, UBCH, you really can't help it anymore, right?" Williams hugged Alice's body and smiled happily. At this time, his heart began to become hot, and he felt that he could do it again. Everything was just right and under his control. "Williams, you shameless BD." Alice's eyes were charming, but she was still scolding Williams with her only perseverance. "Haha, scold me, Princess Alice. You will know how debauched you will be later. A hole, help, haha, let's scream. Let's see if someone comes to save you if your throat breaks. Your Highness, it's better to wait until you feel better and then scream louder." After saying that, Williams couldn't help it anymore and reached out to tear open Alice's pajamas, then exposed her flawless body. However, just when Williams was about to continue taking action, a voice suddenly sounded. "You two, why are you so interested in?" The room, Xialuo suddenly appeared, then looked at the two white bodies on the bed with only their underwear left and said. The sudden appearance of Charlotte Lee startled Williams because on the entire Blue Star Sun never sets cruise ship, except for some Chinese female slaves. There were no Chinese men at all. Even those idiots are not qualified to live on the Blue Star Sun never sets. Not to mention that this floor is still Williams' private property. No one can take a step forward without his permission. "Are you from China? Sir, who are you? How did you appear here?" Williams looked at Xialuo with a gloomy face, and then asked in standard Mandarin. The reason why Williams spoke politely was because he saw Charlotte Lee had a gun on his waist, but now he is naked and the gun is not at all around him. Therefore, Williams, who had no weapons, naturally did not dare to act rashly. "Oh, I didn't expect you to speak Mandarin, so communication will be easier. But don't get me wrong, I am a survivor passing by. I saw that your cruise ship is too luxurious, so I came to see if I can find some supplies. If you bother me, I'm so sorry for disturbing your interest. Are you a thief?" Williams looked at Xialuo with a very strange look in his eyes. He didn't expect that someone would sneak into his territory to steal things, and he's still Chinese. "Don't say it so harshly. Who is a thief? It's the end of the world now. Everything on this ship is ownerless, right? Whoever can get it belongs to him," Williams retorted. "Sir, this cruise ship is not an ownerless thing. It was my property before the end of the world, so I hope you can leave here. Of course, I will also ask someone to provide you with some food, so as not to let you go in vain." But while speaking, Williams secretly glanced at the clothes he threw aside, because there was his gun there. After all, he was a little anxious just now, and all he could see was Alice's perfect body, so why would he even think about putting a gun next to him now? Williams just wants to stabilize Xialuo first, and then find a way to get his gun in his hand, so that he doesn't have to be afraid of Xialuo. Before getting the gun in his hand, Williams would definitely not dare to act rashly against Xialuo. After all, Charlotte Lee's gun is in Charlotte's waist, and if Williams wants to get his gun, he has to get out of bed to get it. He is definitely not as fast as Xialuo. At this time, although Alice's face was getting more and more rosy, the sudden appearance of Xialuo restored Alice's clarity, and a glimmer of hope appeared in her deep blue eyes. Alice bit her tongue hard, and the pain made her suddenly have some sense. She quickly left William's body, and then looked at Lee Charlotte pitifully. "Sir, please help me. This is disgusting and despicable. The man drugged me and he wants to bully me." Lee Charlotte looked at the charming Alice and pretended to be surprised. "What? Aren't you playing role-playing?" Chapter 282 Alice, there will be another female war goddess from now on. Role-play, goddamn role-play. Regarding Lee Xialuo's question, Williams was so angry that he wanted to swear, but Alice didn't think too much. There was a trace of anger on her beautiful face, and she quickly shook her head and explained, "Sir, no, I don't have that kind of relationship with him. His name is Williams. He killed many people on this cruise ship, including my entourage and friends, and then he kept me imprisoned in this room. Or tonight you want to use force on me. Please save me. As long as you are willing to save me, I am willing to give everything." It can be seen that Alice really has extreme disgust for Williams, maybe even hatred, but after hearing Alice's words, Lee Xialuo's eyes lit up. Isn't this exactly his purpose? This beautiful ocean horse is indeed on the right track. In fact, Lee Charlotte had planned to leave the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship after shunning Williams' weapons arsenal. The other supplies on the cruise ship did not attract Lee Charlotte at all force, but at that time, Lee Xialuo was monitoring Williams, and when he saw Alice, Lee Xialuo immediately changed his mind. This late at night, there are still grown men bullying women in dirty ways. My uncle can bear it, but my aunt can't. Lee Xialuo wants the light of righteousness to shine on this super cruise ship. Of course, Lee Xialuo would not admit the reason why he suddenly transformed into an angel of justice. Half of the reason is because Alice, the ocean horse, is really beautiful and attractive, and she is also very attractive to Lee Charlotte. After all, Lee Xialuo has always been a philanthropic person, and a man who follows the public has the dream of most men. For example, I like the best school beauties, mature and charming ladies, beautiful celebrities, etc. And in addition to liking domestic ones, there are also Western horses, obedient women from Sakura country, and exotic beauties with Persian and Western styles. As long as they are beautiful and pure, Lee Charlotte likes them all. Lee Charlotte has absolutely no regional discrimination. Of course, the other half of the reason why Lee Xialuo had to come here to find Alice is that Princess Alice is also a talent that must be captured. Alice, friendliness 60, potential 92, special ability, thunder power, to be awakened, thunder power. This is also a very domineering and powerful power. Moreover, Alice's potential value is still over 90, and she will be another female war goddess in the future, so this Alice must belong to him, Charlotte Lee. And Jesus can't stop it even if he comes. Lee Charlotte looked at Williams with an upright face. "You are indeed a shameless BD. I thought you were playing role-playing, and I thought it disturbed your fun, but you beast not only killed other people's friends, but you also used despicable methods like drugging such a beautiful woman. You are simply a scum. I must deal with you severely." After speaking, Lee Xialuo walked towards Williams. When Williams saw that Lee Xialuo didn't use a gun, a hint of excitement appeared on his face. Although he doesn't have a gun in his hand, he is a Western man after all. Not only is he taller than Lee Xialuo, but his physical fitness is definitely stronger than Lee Xialuo, and he has always looked down on Oriental men. Although most of the men he came into contact with before were from Sakura country and Kimchi country, they all looked the same to him. So if it's just a competition of fists and kicks, wouldn't a Chinese man like Lee Xialuo be able to capture him? Haha. He will definitely pay the price for his arrogance. Williams quickly walked out of bed, then stood in front of Lee Xialuo, and assumed a fighting posture, ready for battle. It has to be said that Williams looks like a very strong man. At this time, his muscles are tight, his expression is serious, and his whole body immediately exudes strong aggression. However, Williams had no idea what kind of monster he was about to face. Even though Lee Xialuo doesn't use his powers, his speed and strength have exceeded human limits. In fact, Lee Charlotte could directly kill Williams with one shot, but after hearing what this guy said in the secret room, Lee Charlotte felt that the safest way was not to kill him now. In addition, as the chief culprit of the invasion, killing Williams like this would give him an advantage, and there is a top-notch American girl watching from the side. It would be pointless to kill Williams directly with a gun. Only by defeating him with strength can you show your strength. As a woman, no one dislikes a strong man, especially a strong man who rescued her. Trash, I'm going to take action. After Lee Xialuo finished speaking, he immediately rushed towards Williams without any hesitation. His speed was like lightning, really fast. Even though Williams was prepared, Li Xiaoluo was so fast that he seemed to only be able to see an afterimage, but Williams didn't panic. He had heard of Chinese Kung Fu, and there seemed to be some kind of Kung Fu that specialized in speed training. Looking at it now, Li Xiaoluo's speed is indeed very fast, but Williams is very confident in his defense and strength. What's the use of the speed of light? If he doesn't have strength, even if he stands and lets him hide him, he can't easily hurt himself. Therefore, after being unable to see Li Xiaoluo's attack clearly, Williams subconsciously raised his thick arm to block Li Xiaoluo's attack, but Li Xiaoluo's speed and reaction ability far exceeded his expectations. After Li Xiaoluo approached Williams, he did not directly confront him head-on. Instead, he flashed to Williams' side in an instant, and then with astonishing speed and power, he hit Williams hard in the stomach with an uppercut. Williams immediately bent over in pain, and the huge pain made his breathing become rapid and difficult. However, Li Xiaoluo did not give him any chance to breathe. Li Xiaoluo then kicked Williams neatly and knocked Williams to the ground. Williams struggled to stand up, but his body seemed to be falling apart. Li Xiaoluo suddenly had a pair of handcuffs in his hand, and then walked over and cuffed Williams' hands directly. Shit, I wasn't ready just now, let's start over. Williams couldn't accept that he lost so quickly to Li Xiaoluo, a Chinese idiot. Try your sister again. Li Xiaoluo punched Williams in the stomach again, causing Williams to lose his voice in pain. Then Li Xiaoluo took out a rope from the system space, tied up Williams, and stuffed smelly socks into his mouth. As soon as Li Xiaoluo took care of Williams, a hot and soft body flew into his arms, bringing with it a refreshing fragrance. It's so hot. Chapter 283, How to Escape? Beauty, are you okay? Looking at the blonde beauty in front of him, Li Xiaoluo asked kindly, but Alice did not answer. Charlotte Li Xiaoluo didn't pay attention, and then stretched out his big hand to feel Alice's white back. Alice's body was very hot, like a ball of coals, but Li Xiaoluo's touch made Alice's face even more red and hot. Beauty, your body is very hot. How about I ask that hairy guy if he has an antidote and see if I can help you? Although Nephrite Wang Xiang was in her arms, Li Xiaoluo behaved very calmly and had no intention of taking advantage of others' danger. It's not that Li Xiaoluo suddenly changed his gender and wanted to be a gentleman, but for different women, sometimes there should be different strategies. For some women, Li Xiaoluo can directly threaten and induce them, and they will compromise, and for some women, you have to use some tricks to impress them or have a good impression first, and then it will happen naturally, because if such a woman also uses coercion and inducement, it may only have the opposite effect, and she will only be able to gain her person, but not her heart, just like a woman with Shen Miao's personality. Or this Alice. Her previous relationship with Williams had already proven this. If coercion and inducement worked, Alice would have compromised with Williams long ago, and there would be nothing wrong with Charlotte Li. So if Alice is treated in a rough way, she may actually do something extreme in the future. If Alice was just an ordinary woman, even if she was a very beautiful woman, Li Xiaoluo wouldn't think so much. It would be enough if he could get her body. If he couldn't get her heart, it wouldn't matter. But who makes Alice a super talent with lightning powers? Charlotte wants to get both her body and her heart. System. Prompt. Alice feels warm to the host's concern and does not take advantage of others' danger. Her friendliness is +10, and her current friendliness towards the host is 69. A system prompt suddenly sounded, letting Li Xiaoluo know that his gentlemanly demeanor was indeed very useful. Sir, my name is Alice. What is your name? My name is Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo, there is no antidote for me. I am very grateful to you for saving me from that BD. I really need your help now. Okay, Li. Charlotte pretended to be dumbfounded. Miss Alice, we Chinese love to help others, especially the weak, and it is our duty to help. So if you need any help from me, just tell me and I will do my best. Work hard. Alice is not very proficient in Chinese Mandarin, so she did not hear the other meaning of Charlotte's words, but she could tell that Li Xiaoluo was very warm-hearted and willing to help her, which moved her very much, and her affection for Li Xiaoluo became even higher. At this moment, Alice's patience reached its limit. Before she lost her mind, she suddenly said, Charlotte Li, I volunteered. After speaking, Alice took action directly. Now that Alice herself has taken the initiative, Li Xiaoluo no longer pretends to be a coward. Omitting 1023 words, the change crashed. Li Xiaoluo didn't have the habit of smoking afterward, but at this time he still took a cigarette from the system space and lighted up. Before the end of the world, Li Xiaoluo had never had contact with any foreigners, let alone foreign women, But before the end of the world is the era of the internet, and a lot of information will be known naturally. For example, Xialuo had heard before that the skin of Western women is not as smooth as that of Eastern women, but now it seems that things are not absolute. Because the skin of Alice Xialuo is really smooth, Alice was nestled in Charlotte Lee's arms at this time. Her face was full of exhaustion after physical exertion. Ahem. The smoke exhaled by Charlotte Lee made Alice cough. No one has ever smoked in front of her before, so she really can't get used to the smell. Sorry, I forgot that you may not be used to this smell. Xialuo actually didn't have much of an addiction to smoking, so he planned to put out the cigarette in his hand. Since I pretended to be a gentleman before, I still have to maintain my image. However, Alice stretched out her white and tender hand to stop Xialuo's movement. It doesn't matter, I'll just get used to it and it'll be fine. Xialuo smiled. Sure enough, his previous gentlemanly demeanor was still very effective. Now Alice's friendship level has reached 86. She is obviously very friendly to Lee Charlotte and has no grudge because Lee Charlotte took advantage of her. Lee Charlotte looked at Alice. Thunder power. This power is something Lee Charlotte also wants very much. Now it seems that it should be stable. Finished smoking one cigarette, Lee Charlotte looked at Alice. Alice, are you okay now? Are you still feeling unwell? In response to Lee Charlotte's concern, Alice's angelic face was stained with a seductive blush. I'm fine. The effect of the medicine has passed, but you are too powerful. I have no strength now. This is really not Alice's deliberate praise of Xialuo, but she thinks Xialuo is really awesome. Before, Charlotte Lee defeated Williams with just one move. Alice was already very impressed by Charlotte Lee. I feel that Xialuo is a very powerful person, but later, she was the one who took the initiative to push back on Xialuo, but in the end she was submissively dealt with by Xialuo. Xialuo's strong physical strength really makes her love and fear her at the same time. If a man can be praised very well by a woman, he will naturally feel very happy and his vanity will be satisfied, especially since this woman is still a foreign girl. Xialuo's sense of accomplishment is even higher. In fact, Charlotte Lee admires Alice very much for her broad mind. After getting tired of Alice again, Alice's address to Charlotte Lee became honey. Honey, what should we do next? There are people like that B.D. Williams here. How can we escape? Alice looked at Charlotte Lee, with an extremely sad look on her beautiful face. By the way, there is also the big brother Williams. I don't know what happened to him. Charlotte Lee had previously handcuffed Williams' hands, then tied him up and gagged him. However, when Xialuo was pushed back by Alice before, because of the emergency, Xialuo did not throw Williams somewhere else, but just casually covered Williams' head with a blanket. Xialuo doesn't like to be admired by others when she is not doing things. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 The Tortured Williams. Charlotte Lee asked Alice to put on her pajamas, then he walked over to Williams and took off the clothes covering Williams' head. At this time, Williams' eyes were red, but his expression was extremely depressed. The past hour or so had been too much for him. Williams had already taken the medicine, and he was ready to vent his anger on Alice, who would have thought that he was suddenly cut off by Xialuo, thrown to the ground, and tortured for more than an hour. Williams felt that he might have almost died violently. As a big boss, Williams has always been a one-and-done existence. How could he have ever suffered such grievances? Before, he was almost ready to kill himself so that he and Xialuo could die together. Charlotte Lee takes the thing out of Williams' mouth. Williams did not yell at Charlotte Lee and Alice, nor did he shout for help outside. Instead, he said calmly, "Mr. Charlotte Lee, Her Royal Highness Princess Alice, I also heard your conversation. I bet you don't want to stay here. Tell me, what do you want to do? Even if you kill me, you will never leave this cruise ship. So, I think we can discuss a solution that is beneficial to everyone." Alice walked down from the bed with her bare white feet, and then looked at Williams coldly. "Williams, will we believe what you say?" Seeing Alice becoming more charming and obviously having difficulty moving, Williams felt extremely angry. The stinky BCH, he really regretted that he paid too much attention to her, so he always behaved politely in front of her, but now, she was getting an advantage over other men in vain. In fact, Alice was completely on Xialuo's side. It really pd him off. Williams had already sworn in his heart that as long as he was let out of trouble, he would make both Charlotte Lee and Alice worse than dead. But on the surface, Williams was very calm and gentlemanly and said, "Her Royal Highness Princess Alice, I was a little rude to you tonight because I was in a bad mood. I apologize to you, but you have lived with me for so long, and I haven't been too harsh on you before, right? I really didn't mean to hurt you, so you can naturally trust me." Alice glanced at Li Xiaoluo at this time, and seeing that Li Xiaoluo didn't express anything, Alice continued, "Williams, what do you think we can do to benefit each other? If you can come up with a way to ensure our safety, I don't have to hurt you, otherwise, we will all die together." Williams quickly said, "Her Royal Highness Princess Alice, we are actually friends, there is no need to hurt each other. How about this? As long as you let me go, I will ask my men to prepare a speedboat for you, and then prepare enough food for you, so that you can leave safely with the food." Alice said coldly. "Williams, do you think we are all fools?" Williams smiled. "Her Royal Highness Princess Alice, my greatest advantage is that I keep my word. Of course, if you don't believe me, then you can also tell me your method. I believe in you very much, Princess Alice." Alice thought for a while and then said, "After daybreak, you tell your men to prepare 2 ships, and then you leave with us." There was a hint of hesitation on William's face. Alice hurriedly said, "Don't worry, I am a member of the royal family after all, and I won't keep my word. As long as we leave here, we will let you go after we confirm that it is safe, and we will leave a ship at that time. Here it is, so that you can return to Ocean City." Hearing Alice say this, Williams finally showed a smile on his face. Then he nodded and said, "Well, if someone else asked me to do this, I would definitely not agree. I would rather everyone die, but your Royal Highness Princess, you have a noble status and you have said so, so I am naturally willing to believe you, so let's follow the method you said." In fact, no matter what method Alice proposes, Williams will agree. Now he just wants to stabilize Alice and Charlotte Lee. Then tomorrow, his men will find out that he is being held hostage. When the time comes, Lee, Charlotte and Alice will be surrounded by countless people, and they will definitely be in chaos, so that he can find a chance to escape. As for letting Alice and Charlotte Lee hold him hostage and leave here together, don't even think about it. Williams would never do that, because if he was really held hostage by Li Xiaoluo and others, Williams knew that what was waiting for him would definitely not end well. So tomorrow, if his men cannot find a chance to rescue him, then Williams will use his last resort to directly destroy the entire cruise ship, let everyone be buried with him. Naturally, Alice didn't know Williams' inner thoughts and viciousness. When she heard that Williams directly agreed to her harsh request, a hint of joy appeared on her face. In this case, she and Li Xiaoluo would really have a chance to escape from here. The thought of getting rid of Williams' control and living with Charlotte Lee in the future made Alice feel particularly wonderful. Alice controlled the joy on her face and looked at Lee. Charlotte gently, "Dear, what do you think of the method we negotiated, Lee?" Charlotte walked up to Alice, then kissed her delicate face hard, and said, "Baby, this is amazing. Your method is very beneficial to us." "I naturally agree." Alice's pretty face turned red immediately after being shown affection by Charlotte Lee in front of outsiders. She was still not used to this, but Alice did not reject it, because the person who kissed her was Lee. Charlotte. Once a woman opens up certain body permissions to men, some intimate actions will not only not disgust them, but will make them feel very sweet in their hearts. However, Williams on the side was so angry and resentful that his teeth almost broke. Alice, this stinky BCH, he was too kind to her in the first place. If she had known earlier, he would have beaten her up hard on the bed, and maybe she would obey him now. However, Lee. Charlotte didn't care what Williams thought. Lee. Charlotte looked at Williams and said with a smile, "Mr. Williams, now that we have reached an agreement, Alice and I can have a good night's rest. But tonight, we still have to be aggrieved first. Give it a try." After saying that, Li Xiaoluo used something to gag Williams' mouth again. Williams knew that Li Xiaoluo was afraid that he would cause trouble at night, so he didn't resist. He is waiting for dawn. In Li Xiaoluo's heart, he actually never thought about following Alice's method. Li Xiaoluo is also waiting for dawn. Chapter 285 shocked Alice and Williams. The reason why Charlotte Lee allowed Williams to speak and let Alice and him waste a lot of time, Charlotte Lee actually thinks the same thing as Williams. Williams agreed to Alice's request in order to paralyze Charlotte Lee and Alice. Why didn't Li Xiaoluo do it to paralyze Williams? Because if they don't negotiate good terms with Williams, Li Xiaoluo is afraid that Williams will cause trouble while they sleep. For example, make some noise to let his men downstairs know that he has been arrested. In fact, Williams couldn't even think about it and decided to die together, although Xialuo has removed all the dangerous items from Williams' secret room. Who knows if he has any backup plans, so Xialuo asked Alice to negotiate good terms with Williams, so that Williams would be honest at least at night, and he would place all his hopes of a comeback after dawn tomorrow, and Xialuo just wants Williams to be honest at night. There will naturally be a good show waiting for him tomorrow. After Charlotte resettled Williams, he hugged Alice and lay back on the bed. Feeling Alice's bumpy body, Charlotte seemed to be interested again. Everyone else does it 7 times a night, so 2 or 3 times a night for him is not too much, right? Unfortunately, Xialuo was too strong, and Alice was still a little scared and unable to bear it. In order to get Xialuo to let her go, Alice had to spend a lot of time talking to Xialuo. A night without words, Xialuo woke up from the alarm. Although he was in the enemy's territory, Xialuo slept soundly with Alice in his arms. Even in the dream, Charlotte couldn't put it down in love with Alice's majesty. After Xialuo woke up, he naturally woke up Alice in his arms. Then Alice immediately felt something strange in her vitals, and Alice also completely woke up, but Alice was still a little stunned. It turned out that everything last night was not a dream. A lot of things really happened last night, but Alice was still very happy. At least she met Charlotte last night, and she didn't fall into the hands of that BD Williams in the end. Sometimes, it is actually very difficult to get rid of a feeling of disgust towards a person, and if you clearly hate someone but still want to be played by him, that feeling must be extremely painful and humiliating. If Williams really succeeded last night, Alice would shudder just thinking about it. Fortunately, Xialuo was the hero sent by God to save her from that humiliation, but thinking about her current predicament, Alice was still very worried. Although the plan she proposed last night seemed good, Alice also knew that she was likely to encounter some variables during her actions, and if she and Xialuo are caught, the end will definitely be very tragic. Looking at the still gray sky outside, Alice prayed in her heart, I hope I can escape from here smoothly. Woohoo! At this time, I saw Xialuo and Alice, the adulterer and adulteress, finally getting up. Williams, who had been thrown in the corner all night, had red eyes and began to struggle whiningly. He wanted Charlotte and Alice to notice him, and then quickly do what they agreed to do yesterday. Williams couldn't stand it anymore, thinking that yesterday he was the master of the entire Ocean City, holding the power of life and death for everyone, but in the blink of an eye, he became a prisoner and was thrown on the ground like garbage last night. Then, he occasionally had to listen to the melodious sounds on the bed, which made him worse than death. Alice and Charlotte got dressed and got up. Alice glanced at Williams, who was struggling with disgust, then looked at Charlotte and said, My dear, should we let Williams order his men to prepare the ship now? Xialuo shook his head. Baby, don't bother, we don't need his ship. When they heard Charlotte's words, both Alice and Williams were stunned for a moment, not knowing what Charlotte meant, especially Williams on the ground. He was struggling even more fiercely at this time. Woo woo, woo woo, he kept whining, as if he had something very urgent to say. Naturally, he wanted to ask Xialuo what he meant. Did he want to burn down the bridge, want to die with him? Then his whole night of suffering and humiliation was not in vain. But it doesn't make sense. Xialuo, a Chinese, had just acquired such a stunning beauty as Alice. How could he want to die together? I don't have any deep grudge against him. Williams really can't understand, but Charlotte did not give Williams a chance to speak, nor did he explain to Alice. Xialuo walked to Williams' side, and then easily lifted Williams up with one hand. Alice was not too surprised by Charlotte's magical power. In her eyes, Charlotte was a very, very powerful man, but Alice couldn't figure out what Charlotte was going to do. Xialuo, who was holding Williams in one hand, walked to Alice again, and then stretched out his other hand to hug Alice's waist. Suddenly, Alice became even more confused. My dear, what kind of look are you doing? One hand was holding Williams' guy, and the other was holding her. However, just when Alice couldn't help it anymore and wanted to ask clearly, Alice suddenly felt that her vision went dark, but almost instantly, the light returned again, but the environment in front of her had changed, seeing herself suddenly appearing in a strange place. Alice opened her mouth wide. I couldn't believe my eyes. Where's this place? Why did you come here suddenly? At this moment, Alice felt that her worldview had collapsed. Is there really a Superman in this world? Is there a God? And Williams, who was held in Charlotte's hand, was also extremely shocked and somewhat unable to accept this situation. Alice doesn't know where this is. That's because she has been imprisoned in the cruise ship's room by Williams before, and she doesn't know what's going on outside, but Williams knows where this is. This is his refugee camp in Ocean City. The big number 18 means that this is refugee camp number 18, but they were clearly on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship just now, so why did they appear here in the blink of an eye? At this moment, Williams felt a little desperate. If he was just facing ordinary human survivors, then no matter who they were, Williams would have the courage and confidence to fight. But now, what Lee Charlotte has done is obviously beyond the scope of what humans can do. His self-confidence was instantly extinguished. Mr. Lee, is that you, Uncle Lee? Xialuo and others suddenly appeared on the boat in refugee camp number 18, which naturally shocked the Chinese people in refugee camp number 18. But after seeing Lee Xialuo's appearance clearly, many people suddenly became excited. Chapter 286. Is this her Oriental man? In fact, after Lee Xialuo left refugee camp number 18 last night and never came back, many people have been talking about it, especially Wu Jin and the others. Lee Xialuo gave them hope of getting out of their predicament. They also asked them to contact many people. If Lee Xialuo didn't come back, they wouldn't know what to do. Some people think that Lee Xialuo ran away, and some people think that Lee Xialuo was caught by people from Ocean City when it was just dawn. All the people Wu Jin and the others contacted yesterday had secretly gathered at refugee camp number 18, but everyone never saw Lee Xialuo appear, nor did they see the so-called weapons. Suddenly some people felt that Wu Jin had lied to them. After a few curses, everyone was about to go back quickly, but Lee Xialuo suddenly appeared. Lee Xialuo looked at the shocked people and gave them some time to digest. Then Lee Xialuo waved to Wu Jin. Wu Jin quickly ran over and said respectfully to Lee Xialuo, "Mr. Lee, what are your orders?" No wonder Wu Jin is so respectful to Lee Xialuo, mainly because the way Lee Xialuo appeared this time really scared him. Only then did he realize that Lee Xialuo standing in front of him was not an ordinary human at all. Lee Xialuo looked at Wu Jin. "Have all the people you contacted last night come?" Wu Jin nodded quickly. "Mr. Lee, basically all the people we contacted yesterday are here, including the people on our ship, a total of 69 people. Everyone is waiting for your instructions." Lee Xialuo nodded, and then asked Wu Jin to gather all the people participating in the operation. The people who were gathered all recovered from the shock at this time, and then looked at Lee Xialuo with burning eyes. If Wu Jin came to them yesterday to discuss resistance, one of the reasons why they came forward was because Wu Jin said they could get weapons. Another reason is that many people know that they will die sooner or later, and it will be a humiliating death, so they risk it all. But in the hearts of all of them, they never thought about defeating the thugs in Ocean City. They were actually determined to die. They just wanted to die less cowardly, especially when they were bullied by a group of Japanese soldiers. They couldn't embarrass the Chinese people, but now, everyone seems to see hope of victory, and this hope was naturally brought to them by Lee Xialuo. Lee Xialuo felt a little disgusted by the hot eyes of a group of men, but she couldn't stop others from looking at her. Lee Xialuo could only pretend that he didn't see it, then pointed at Williams, who was thrown on the deck, and said to everyone, "Everyone, do you know this man?" Everyone shook their heads. Chinese people living in these refugee camps, especially men, basically have no chance to go to the cruise ship. Therefore, they naturally have no chance to know Williams. But seeing that Williams was a foreign devil and was tied up, they guessed that he might be a big shot in Ocean City. Lee Xialuo did not whet everyone's appetite and said directly, "This guy's name is Williams. He is the lord of this Ocean City, and he is also the culprit who captured all of you as slaves." "What? He is the lord of Ocean City? Damn, that's awesome." Even the city lord was caught by Mr. Lee. It turns out that it was this BCH. My father was killed. I am not as good as a living dog. It was all caused by this beast. Mr. Lee, just kill him. He has harmed so many of our compatriots. He must be punished with blood. Pay with blood. Yes, kill him. After hearing that Williams was the city lord of Ocean City, everyone was stunned for a moment and started talking about it, but everyone was more excited and wanted to kill this guy. However, Williams did not react violently to everyone shouting and shouting. Since Lee Xialuo brought him to this refugee camp suddenly, Williams has lost the confidence he had before. Lee Xialuo has such a magical ability. What can he do to Lee Xialuo? So if Lee Xialuo and the others really kill him, Williams will be happy, because as long as he dies, everyone will be buried with him. Lee Xialuo naturally knew that Williams was dreaming, and his backup plan had long been destroyed by Lee Xialuo, but Lee Xialuo won't tell him now. Let him daydream for a while first. Even Li Xiaoluo does not intend to kill Williams now. Li Xiaoluo said to everyone, killing him like this is a bit too cheap for him. I tell you who he is to give you some confidence and let you know that Ocean City is not actually powerful. After you have completely dealt with the thugs in Ocean City, then let all the Chinese people who have been bullied come to trial this Williams and make him pay the due price for his actions. Mr. Li, your method is good. We all listen to you. If we kill him like this, it will be too easy for him. Wu Jin quickly responded, naturally, other people don't have any opinions. Then Li Xiaoluo looked at Wu Jin. Wu Jin, please count how many people participating in the operation know how to use guns. Wu Jin and everyone were stunned for a moment, and then they realized, were they going to give them weapons? But where is the gun? Li Xiaoluo didn't carry any backpack or anything like that, so there was no place to hide the gun. However, Wu Jin now obeys Li Xiaoluo's advice. Mr. Li is not an ordinary person anyway, so it is definitely right to listen to him. Moreover, Wu Jin had actually known the details of the people he found for a long time. There were a total of 9 of these people who knew how to use guns. This ratio is actually very low. The main reason is that China's gun management is too strict. Ordinary people have no chance to come into contact with them, so naturally they don't know how to use them. But it doesn't matter, as long as someone teaches you, it's not difficult to learn to shoot. But your marksmanship may be a bit awkward. There were 69 people in Wu Jin and others. Li Xiaoluo looked at the friendliness of all of them, and then named the 50 people with the highest friendliness immediately afterwards. Li Xiaoluo waved his hand, and 50 guns appeared in front of everyone. This time, everyone looked at Li Xiaoluo with even more awe. Basically, it's no different from watching a fairy. Even Alice next to her looked at Charlotte Li with bright eyes. Is this her Oriental man? It's so amazing. She loves it to death. Li Xiaoluo looked at the 50 people named by him. Of course, Wu Jin, who was appointed captain by Li Xiaoluo, was also among these 50 people. Wu Jin, each of their 50 people will be given a gun. Give you half an hour to teach them how to use the gun, and then start killing people. Wu Jin subconsciously saluted. Yes, I promise to complete the mission. As for the remaining 19 people among the 69 people who are not very friendly, their friendship level is not lower than 40, so they have no hostility towards Li Xiaoluo, but Li Xiaoluo will not let them have guns. When the time comes, the 19 of them will serve as auxiliary soldiers, charging with shields or cleaning the battlefield. Chapter 287. Let them have a full meal. Under the special training of Wu Jin and several instructors who knew how to use guns, the 50 people selected by Li Xiaoluo quickly learned to use guns. By this time, it was already getting bright and we could start taking action. However, Li Xiaoluo did not let Wu Jin and the others take action immediately. Li Xiaoluo waved his hand, and then a pile of food appeared on the deck. Bread, ham, chicken legs, thin porridge, very rich. Li Xiaoluo called the captain Wu Jin and asked him to distribute food to everyone participating in the operation. Eat as much as you can, no limits. After all, this operation is actually very dangerous for them. Even if they have the guns and ammunition provided by Li Xiaoluo, they may still encounter strong resistance from the enemy. Moreover, the thugs in Ocean City also have guns. When the bullets are blind, some of them may also die. Therefore, Li Xiaoluo respects these people who are not afraid of death and stand up bravely, and will try his best to give them enough support. In addition to weapons, the other thing is naturally food. After all, if you don't have enough to eat, where will you find the strength to fight? And if you are full now, even if you die, you will still be a dead ghost, and you will feel at ease when you leave. Sure enough, when I saw Li Xiaoluo taking out so much food at once, many of the delicacies would not be available to eat after the apocalypse. Suddenly, everyone was swallowing saliva. Then, everyone who participated in the operation became extremely excited when they heard that the food was given to them worth it. Even if they really died in this operation, they would have no regrets if they could have a good meal before they died. Otherwise, it would be really miserable if there was no oil or water in the stomach before death. Thank you, Mr. Li. Wu Jin led people to distribute food to everyone, then solemnly saluted Li Xiaoluo, and started devouring it with everyone. They are so hungry. The scene of dozens of grown men having sex is quite shocking, and Li Xiaoluo is also a little hungry after watching it. The main reason is that although this is the first time for Alice, a foreign girl, she has no choice but to have a special body structure, very strong endurance and recovery ability, and the demand is also great. Last night, although Li Xiaoluo had a great time and felt like he had met his opponent, the consumption was really high, so I'm getting hungry quickly, so I have to replenish my energy now. In addition, seeing that Wu Jin and the others were eating so deliciously, Li Xiaoluo finally remembered that she hadn't eaten yet, so Li Xiaoluo took out a lot of food from the system space, and then waved to Alice. Alice, come and have breakfast, authentic Chinese food. Alice recovered from the numb shock, her face flushed with excitement, then she ran to Li Xiaoluo, hugged Li Xiaoluo and had a long French kiss. Dear, are you your Eastern god? How did you do it? You are so awesome. Li Xiaoluo had already fully experienced the enthusiasm and unrestrained nature of Alice, a big ocean horse, last night originally. When Charlotte Li used the drone to watch her get along with Williams last night, she still maintained etiquette and exuded aristocratic temperament. Charlotte Li thought Alice was a proper lady. Who would have thought that women are fickle? After getting her body and mind, she let go of her nature. Charlotte smiled and did not answer Alice's question. She would naturally know what was going on in the future and was too lazy to explain too much now, but Alice didn't care. Her eyes when she looked at Li Xiaoluo were full of fiery amorous feelings. The heat almost melted Li Xiaoluo. If there were no outsiders around Li Xiaoluo now, Alice might have pounced on him, stripped off Li Xiaoluo's clothes, and then pressed Li Xiaoluo down hard just as proactive as last night, especially at this time. In Alice's eyes, Charlotte Li is a god. Then she is the woman who conquered the gods. She is really awesome. While Li Xiaoluo and Alice were eating delicious food, a middle-aged man came to Li Xiaoluo with a smile on his face. Li Xiaoluo remembered this middle-aged man. He wanted to be little Lingling's father yesterday. Hello, Mr. Li. My name is Li Gang. I used to be the director of the XX department of the Municipal Party Committee. Li Xiaoluo said impatiently, I'm not interested in knowing who you are. If you have anything to say, just tell me. Li Gang was stunned for a moment, but he quickly reacted and still had a smile on his face. Mr. Li, it's like this. I'm really happy that you can lead us compatriots to fight against those foreign devils at the same time. I am also very touched that so many compatriots stood up and resisted regardless of their own life and death. Although I am a powerless scholar, I feel that as a cadre and a public servant of the people, I have an obligation to stand up and contribute my share. Speaking of this, Li Gang paused deliberately. I want Li Xiaoluo to praise his behavior, but Li Xiaoluo was enjoying the food and didn't even look at him. A trace of ugliness flashed in Li Gang's eyes. In fact, his identity as director was real, but before the end, he was about to be arrested for corruption. He didn't expect the end to come, but he happened to be saved. Moreover, at the beginning of the apocalypse, ordinary survivors did not know that he was about to be eliminated for corruption. Many people thought he was a big shot and naturally fawned over him, so in the past, Li Gang relied on his own identity to raise the banner and deceived others to survive until now. After being captured in Ocean City, although they were all prisoners with the lowest status, no one looked down on him anymore, but due to his status, everyone was still polite to him. After all, it is no longer extremely cold. What if someone from the government comes to rescue them? When the time comes, as Li Gang, he will naturally have the right to speak, but Li Gang didn't expect that Li Xiaoluo wouldn't give him any face, and didn't even bother to look at him. It's just blatant disregard. However, Li Gang didn't have the courage to challenge Li Xiaoluo. He just thought viciously in his heart that the rabble Li Xiaoluo had gathered was definitely no match for the big shots in Ocean City. Sooner or later, he will be arrested and tortured to death. Since Li Xiaoluo doesn't want him, it's better for him not to have anything to do with Li Xiaoluo, so as not to bring disaster to Qiyu. At this time, Wu Jin rushed to Li Xiaoluo in a panic and reported, Mr. Li, that Jennifer was leading people to our ship yesterday. Jennifer, Li Xiaoluo remembered it. It seemed that she was the Chinese woman who bought Xia Lingling's grandma's life with bread. She might have been the kind of woman who worshipped foreigners before the end of the world, but after the end of the world she would not admit that she was Chinese at all. Li Xiaoluo continued to eat and said calmly, why panic? Let your people hide their guns first, and then when they come over, arrest them all and use them to sacrifice flags. Chapter 288. Whistleblowing. At this time, Jennifer, wearing heavy makeup, led a group of people and walked proudly towards the refugee camp. Although she hated the smell of the refugee camp, she also didn't want to see the untouchables in the refugee camp. But every time a mission came to the refugee camp, Jennifer still liked to come here because among the thugs in Ocean City, she was the SX slave and translator with the lowest status. But as long as she comes to the refugee camp, she is the queen who is above the rest. She likes to see the untouchables awe and bow down to her. This made her feel full of superiority. When Jennifer and her group were approaching refugee camp number 18, Li Xiaoluo asked Wu Jin and others to get ready and wait until they got on the boat before taking action. Then, Li Xiaoluo asked some people on the boat to stand in front of him, Alice and Williams, to cover up. This is done to prevent those people from discovering abnormalities from a distance and then be prepared to call for help or escape. After all, the best way to fight a dog is to do it behind closed doors, so it's best to let those people come on board. Sure enough, Jennifer and her group did not notice anything unusual on the ship, but quickly came over when Jennifer and her group arrived at refugee camp number 18. Jennifer immediately raised her proud head and said, "Where's the old guy who collected the bread yesterday? Come out and follow me." In fact, Grandma Xiaolingling was standing there, and Jennifer could see it at a glance. The reason why she said this was to find a sense of presence here. Among the soldiers around Jennifer, someone seemed to have discovered something unusual about the refugee camp, and suddenly angrily said a lot of words to Jennifer. When the soldier spoke, Jennifer kept nodding and bowing, with a bright smile on her face. Although the soldiers following her are the most ordinary soldiers in Ocean City, they are also second-class citizens in Ocean City, and their status is much higher than hers. Even at night, she still had to wait on them and let them play whatever they wanted. After the soldier finished chirping, Jennifer turned to look at the people on the boat, and then her face instantly turned into disdain and anger. Mr. Tanabe said, "Baga, why are there so many people here? What are you all doing? Do you want to have some conspiracy? He is now asking all the women on your ship to come out, and Mr. Tanabe will take them with you. Interrogate yourself." At this time, the middle-aged man named Li Gang suddenly ran out of the crowd, and then he ran to Jennifer and the others. "Miss, I want to report them. They are all gathered here to rebel. I want to report them. You should quickly notify your army to come over and suppress these mobs. I am a good citizen and I'll listen to you." Originally, Jennifer was so angry that Li Gang said "Miss" that she almost cursed. "You are the lady, and your whole family is a lady." But when she heard the words of the middle-aged man Li Gang, Jennifer was shocked at first, but she quickly calmed down. "Aren't they just some untouchables who are tired of living and want to cause trouble? It's not like this has happened before, and there are even more people, but what's the use? As long as the soldiers around her pull out their guns, most of the Chinese people will be cowed, and then the rest will be hung up and tortured to death, in the face of absolute strength. If they want to cause trouble, they will die." The people in refugee camp number 18 did not expect that Li Gang would suddenly do such a thing, and he would go and report it. And snitching at this time, is he out of his mind? Doesn't he know who is stronger here now? Even if he wants to be a fool, he can't do it now, right? Even Li Xiaoluo, who was still eating at the back of the crowd, was made to laugh by Li Gang's stupid operation. There are people who are so anxious to die. In fact, Li Xiaoluo didn't know that a large part of the reason why Li Gang did this suddenly was stimulated by Li Xiaoluo's ignorance just now. If he was ignored or even insulted by the foreigners in Ocean City, Li Gang didn't feel there was anything wrong, but being ignored by Li Xiaoluo, a Chinese, he felt very uncomfortable. In addition, he was used to being aloof before the end. If Li Xiaoluo could give him the right, then he might really be able to compete with Li Xiaoluo. But since Li Xiaoluo ignored him, don't blame him for being careless. As long as he reports meritoriously, he will be reused in Ocean City. Li Xiaoluo is not the only one he has to choose from. In fact, the reason why Li Gang dared to do this was because when Li Xiaoluo suddenly teleported and appeared in refugee camp number 18, Li Gang was still sleeping, and he did not see Li Xiaoluo's elusive superpower. On the contrary, after Li Gang came to Ocean City, he had seen the power of Ocean City. They had many soldiers and weapons, so now even if Wu Jin and the others have obtained guns and ammunition, in Li Gang's view, Wu Jin and the others will definitely not be the opponents of Ocean City in the end, and will be annihilated sooner or later. Unfortunately, what Li Gang didn't know was that Williams, the city lord, had a lot of guns and ammunition. However, after several months of consumption after the end of the world, Ocean City's ammunition was already getting less and less. Therefore, in order to save ammunition and prevent his men from rebelling with weapons, when there is no emergency or war, most of the soldiers in Ocean City have no bullets in their guns. Their guns are used to scare people. Of most of the guns and ammunition are basically locked by Williams in the weapons warehouse of the cruise ship, and he will only use them when encountering powerful enemies under normal circumstances. There would be no problem with Williams' approach, because Ocean City is actually very big. Even if a relatively powerful enemy suddenly encounters it, it is impossible to attack the cruise ship where Williams lives at once. In a critical situation, Williams had time to take out all the weapons and arm his soldiers, but Williams never dreamed that an enemy would suddenly appear on the cruise ship. And in his bedroom, even the entire Ocean City people would not have thought that all the guns and ammunition in their Ocean City arsenal had been taken away by others and would soon be used against themselves naturally. Li Gang didn't know this either. He still felt that Ocean City was very powerful. After Jennifer received Li Gang's report, she still had an indifferent attitude. She despised the untouchables in the refugee camp for seeking their own death before planning to report to the translator who followed her, but before she could speak, Li Xiaoluo waved his hand, and Wu Jin on the side immediately issued an action order, do it. After saying that, Wu Jin took the lead in taking out his hidden gun and shot directly at a man with a mustache. Bang! There was a gunshot. Wu Jin's marksmanship was not bad, and he shot the mustache directly. Chapter 289. You should shoot. After Wu Jin fired first, other people on the boat also took out their hidden guns and shot at the soldiers brought over by Jennifer. Baga. The soldiers who followed Jennifer were dumbfounded. They did not expect this to be the case. Even Jennifer was frightened. She screamed, "Mr. Tanabe, shoot quickly and kill these untouchables." But what made Jennifer dumbfounded was that the soldiers who usually behaved aloof in front of her now had extremely frightened expressions on their faces. Some people subconsciously took out the pistols in their waistbands, but after raising the guns, they babbled a lot, but did not fire. Some people simply threw their guns on the ground, raised their hands and covered their heads in surrender. You should shoot. At this moment, Jennifer felt extremely angry. She really couldn't accept that the adult she admired would be defeated by a group of untouchables, and she knelt on the ground and surrendered without firing a shot. Li Gang on the side was also a little dumbfounded. Aren't the Japs in Ocean City very powerful when they captured them? And in the last riot, they directly shot and killed many Chinese people, and everyone they killed was frightened. What happened this time? However, the people on Jennifer's side did not shoot, but under the leadership of Wu Jin, the people on their side would not show mercy. Bang! 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 A series of gunshots rang out. Some people on Wu Jin's side were shooting for the first time, and they felt excited after just one round of shooting. Jennifer, the soldiers who followed her, and even the middle-aged man Li Gang, were all killed. Moreover, he was still beaten into a hornet's nest. This leaves many people still a little unsatisfied. They have just found the thrill of shooting and want to fire a few more shots. After the battle, no one on Wu Jin's side died, and no one was injured. This makes many people unbelievable. Are these Japs so weak? But everyone soon realized that it was not that the enemy was too weak, but that the enemy seemed to have no counterattack at all. What is going on? Then Wu Jin thought of a possibility, so he immediately ran over and picked up a dead Jap's gun, and then ejected the magazine. Empty. Boy, there really aren't any bullets in their guns. Thinking of this, Wu Jin checked all the enemy's guns, except for the first one he killed with a mustache that had 3 bullets in his gun. The other Japs had no bullets in their guns. Damn it, it turns out that these idiots holding guns are just to scare people. This discovery immediately made Wu Jin and others overjoyed. Li Xiaoluo gave them 50 guns, and each of them was equipped with 20 rounds of ammunition. Initially, they didn't feel much about it, and they even felt that 20 rounds of ammunition per person seemed a bit too little, and they might run out after a while, and Ocean City is very powerful. When the time comes, their ammunition will not be able to defeat the people of Ocean City. But now, Wu Jin and the others know that the thugs in Ocean City are actually very poor. The weapons and ammunition that Li Xiaoluo gave them are the real wealth. At this moment, Wu Jin and the others all felt that their fighting spirit was high, and no one thought that they would die. After Wu Jin finished cleaning the battlefield, he walked to Li Xiaoluo and asked for instructions. Mr. Li, can we attack Ocean City now? Li Xiaoluo nodded and said, go. Now that everyone has practiced, you can officially take action. Then, Li Xiaoluo warned, when you are taking action, you need to pay attention to 2 points, then victory will definitely belong to you. Wu Jin now respected Li Xiaoluo like a god. He said respectfully, Mr. Li, you said, we will definitely obey your orders. Li Xiaoluo nodded. First of all, you have also seen that the thugs in Ocean City don't actually have much ammunition. Even the thugs on the cruise ship, many thugs' guns actually have no bullets in them. Even some thugs' guns have no bullets in them. There are bullets, but not too many at that time. As long as you can kill those thugs who are stubbornly resisting and have ammunition in their guns, it will be fine. As for the other thugs, there is no need for you to kill them for the time being. which will lead to a waste of too much ammunition. If they surrender, you will arrange for someone to kill them first. They will take care of it and deal with it after victory. Don't get mad and think about killing all the thugs directly. Otherwise, there are many of them, and your ammunition will be exhausted quickly. Wu Jin said respectfully. Mr. Li, don't worry, I know what to do. Wu Jin understood what Li Xiaoluo meant, as if they had just killed the 5 or 6 thugs brought by Jennifer. Among the 5 or 6 thugs, only one had bullets in his gun, and it happened that the first one was shot dead by Wu Jin. As for the thugs behind, some were actually bluffing with their guns raised, while some had already knelt down and surrendered. At that time, as long as Wu Jin arranged for people to persuade him to surrender, he might be able to directly control the remaining thugs without wasting a single bullet. However, Wu Jin and the others just fired a round, which was great, but at least 30 bullets were wasted. If we follow this ratio, Wu Jin and the others only have 1,000 bullets in total. But there are at least 1,000 real thugs in Ocean City. Even if the thousands of thugs didn't fight back, they just stood there and let them shoot. Wu Jin and the others didn't even have enough bullets. By then, if Wu Jin and the others run out of bullets, they will only have a few dozen people, and they will no longer be a match for those thugs. So Li Xiaoluo asked them to focus on defeating the enemy instead of killing them. Absolutely correct. Moreover, it is not up to them to decide whether to kill the surrendered thugs after victory. Just like when the thugs in Ocean City tricked Wu Jin and others into coming here, they also said they would not kill them and would let them live a good life. But what about the end? After Wu Jin and the others came here, they were worse than pigs and dogs. The thugs in Ocean City just killed them if they wanted to. After Wu Jin and the others wait for the thugs in Ocean City to surrender, they can naturally retaliate in kind. For animals, there is no credibility to speak of. The second thing is, you arrange a few special correspondents. When you are in danger, I will use the walkie-talkie to contact your correspondents and tell you what to do. The second thing Li Xiaoluo told Wu Jin was actually to provide them with information through drones. After all, no matter what kind of battle it is, as long as you know everything about the enemy, half the battle is already won. In this operation, Li Xiaoluo did not let Wu Jin and others die as cannon fodder. After all, they are all people who bravely stand up and resist. They are much better than those who are content with the status quo and dare not resist, or even kneel down and lick them and want to be a fool. Those people are not dead yet. Therefore, Li Xiaoluo will try his best to provide safety guarantee to Wu Jin and others this time, not only so that they can win, but also try their best to allow them to survive. Chapter 290. The city lord ran away. Just after Wu Jin and the others opened fire, a series of gunshots broke the tranquility of Ocean City. Basically, everyone in Ocean City could hear the gunshots. Since the last riot in Ocean City where a large number of people were killed, Ocean City has basically been very peaceful. Gunshots are rarely heard in Ocean City. The sudden sound of gunfire, and the intensive gunfire, immediately shocked everyone in Ocean City. What big thing happened? However, to the sudden sound of gunfire, people from different classes in Ocean City had different reactions. First of all, the Chinese people living in all the refugee camps on the outer edge of Ocean City naturally know what these gunshots mean, because yesterday Wu Jin took people to all the refugee camps to recruit people and called on everyone to resist together. Everyone knew that something big was going to happen today. However, hearing such intensive gunshots, many people in the refugee camp shed a cold sweat for Wu Jin and the others, although some of them were afraid of death, so they did not stand up and follow Wu Jin and the others, but in their hearts, they definitely hoped that Wu Jin and the others could win. But now that they hear so many gunshots, the people in the refugee camp have no hope for Wu Jin and the others. Sure enough, the result of resistance is death. They are just ordinary people. How could they resist those foreign devils with guns? They never thought that these gunshots were fired by Wu Jin and others. In the first and second ring areas of Ocean City, the people living here are basically people from the Sakura country and the Kimchi country. They are second-class citizens and third-class citizens, but they actually know more information than the people in the refugee camp. Few not only were the people from Sakura country and Kimchi country not afraid of the sudden burst of gunfire, they were also smiling happily. They thought there were untouchables who were not afraid of death and wanted to cause trouble, and then their city lord, Lord Williams, was sending troops to suppress it. However, only those who live on the Blue Star Sun never sets cruise ship in the core area of Ocean City know that something big has happened, because only the people on the cruise ship are qualified to know that they don't have much ammunition now. And the city lord Williams gives them even less ammunition for duty every day, so this intensive gunfire was not caused by their Ocean City soldiers at all. Is there a powerful enemy boarding their ocean city? Thinking of this possibility, the foreign devils on the blue star sun never sets were a little panicked. Even the deputy city lords got up from their women's nests in a panic. Then they all came to the conference room and asked people to invite Williams to come over for the meeting. They must quickly formulate a defense plan. But soon, several deputy city lords heard news that shocked them. Their city lord, Williams, is so damn missing. No one is seen alive. No body is seen dead. It's like they disappeared out of thin air. Several deputy city lords cursed in their hearts. This foreign devil is really unreliable. Regardless of whether Williams is hiding or running away, the one who stepped on the horse is a BD. Drop the chain at the critical moment. However, after calming down, several deputy city lords immediately started to have different thoughts now that BD Williams is gone. Does that mean they have hope to become regular and become the city lords of Ocean City? But now, it's not the time to think about this. Let's deal with the enemies who invaded this time first. So, several deputy city lords quickly led their men into the 8th floor that Williams had previously occupied, and then went straight to the weapons warehouse. If you want to win, weapons and ammunition are the key. But when they violently opened the weapons arsenal, they were stunned. Although the arsenal has always been under direct control of Williams, they have come to visit before, so they know how many guns and ammunition there are in the arsenal. But who can tell them now what is happening in front of them? There was nothing in the entire arsenal, not even an empty bullet box. It's so weird. If it was before the end, they would still have reason to believe that Williams had run away with all the weapons and ammunition. But under the current circumstances outside, can Williams do this in one night without being noticed? It seems impossible. FK, Baga, it's also rare. Several deputy city lords each greeted each other in their own languages. Of course, they actually didn't know who to greet. Everyone, what should we do now? Among the 3 deputy city lords present, an old white man asked first. Baga, even if we don't have the ammunition in the arsenal, we still have many warriors, and they are all warriors' work, so naturally we will fight to the end. Yes, if we don't resist, the end may be very tragic. The old white man also nodded. Yes, I think so too. Since we all have the same idea, I hope everyone will stop hiding it and take out all the weapons and ammunition in their hands. With that said, the old white man first told his situation. I have a total of 30 guns in my collection, and I still have about 50 rounds of bullets. I have collected 20 guns and 60 bullets. I also have a collection of 26 guns and 40 bullets. These weapons and ammunition are just the private treasure of several deputy city lords who learned from Williams, and are not exposed publicly. In addition to their collection of weapons and ammunition, the soldiers on the Blue Star Sun never set also have more than 100 guns in their hands, but the total ammunition in the hands of those soldiers only has about 50 bullets. In other words, their current strength in Ocean City is almost 200 guns, but the total number of bullets is only about 200. The number of bullets and guns is almost the same, which is outrageous. So after seeing that the weapons depot was empty, the deputy city lords couldn't help but swear there is really no ammunition for the arsenal. Even if they have hundreds of guns, they are of no use. After one person shoots a bullet, does he then use the gun as a fire stick, or use a gun to kill the enemy? Okay, everyone, don't be discouraged. We still have 200 bullets in total, and we are guarding the cruise ship, so we have the advantage of a good location and a familiar environment as long as we unite and set up some traps, even if the enemy's firepower is stronger than ours. But we won't necessarily lose. Yes, the enemy may not have many troops. We have 200 bullets. If we can kill 200 enemies, then victory will definitely belong to us. The determination of several deputy city lords to resist is still very strong. After all, they are used to being aloof, and they will definitely not be able to accept being reduced to prisoners. And just when the Blue Star Sun never sets was actively preparing for battle, Wu Jin led his people with unstoppable momentum, and soon directly defeated the territory of the second ring area and the first ring area. After all, the thugs in these two areas don't have much ammunition for their guns. Anyone who wants to resist will naturally be shot directly by Wu Jin and others. As for those who surrendered, Wu Jin and the others listened to Li Xiaoluo and did not waste ammunition. They just asked people to tie them up first. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291. I have a confidence again. On the blue star sun never sets. Several deputy city lords of Ocean City are constantly mobilizing troops and arranging this battle that is related to their life and death after a period of emergency arrangements. They arranged different killing moves on each floor of the cruise ship, and naturally several of their deputy city lords head at the top of the cruise ship to command. Although several people were very uneasy, they felt that their chances of winning were still very high. After all, they are guarding the blue star sun never sets, and the super cruise ship blue star sun never sets is very huge, and the environment is also very complex. When the time comes, they will be hiding in the dark and have an advantage. They will definitely be able to eliminate the enemies one by one. Bang, bang. The gunshots outside the cruise ship are getting closer and closer. The enemy has already attacked the first ring area, and the blue star sun never sets will be coming soon. Several deputy city lords quickly used telescopes to check the situation outside, because they could now see the enemy, but what they saw made them confused, because the so-called powerful enemy is a little different from what they imagined. They thought that since the invading enemy this time had such powerful firepower, they should be some Chinese soldiers wearing camouflage uniforms, but now I see that this enemy is not a Chinese soldier. Look at the way those people are dressed. Aren't they slaves from their Ocean City refugee camp? But this is also what confuses the deputy city lords the most. Is this a rebellion by people from their Ocean City refugee camp? How could this happen? Because even if the people in the refugee camp grabbed all the guns and ammunition in the outer areas of Ocean City, there wouldn't be much ammunition at all. Where does this constant sound of gunfire come from? However, it is useless no matter how hard the deputy city lords of Ocean City try to figure it out, because the enemy has already reached the vicinity of the blue star sun never sets. But now that they know that the enemy is a mob, the deputy city lords of Ocean City are no longer as worried as before. They felt that their previous careful arrangements were simply made out of molehills. After a brief discussion, several deputy city lords unanimously decided to change the plan. Since the enemies are all pariahs, there is no need for them to be cautious. It was the same old white man who is the deputy city lord. He picked up the walkie-talkie and contacted the Ocean City security captain, who was ambushing on the third floor of the cruise ship. Captain Danny, you take 50 of our most elite soldiers, and then I will give you 50 guns and 150 bullets. You are responsible for supporting the brothers guarding the entrance to the cruise ship on the first floor. Remember, now our plan has changed. We now want to prevent the enemy from boarding our cruise ship, and eliminate the enemy directly outside the cruise ship. The old white men originally thought that the enemy was very powerful, so they never thought about blocking the enemy from outside the cruise ship. Therefore, they have very few manpower to ambush at the entrance on the first floor of the cruise ship, and he was prepared to fire a few shots at random and then retreat immediately, because they originally wanted to lure the enemy into the interior of the cruise ship and use the complex terrain on the cruise ship to eliminate the enemy. But now, when they see that the enemy is a ragtag group like Wu Jin, the deputy city lords have no intention of letting Wu Jin and the others attack the cruise ship. After all, the blue star sun never sets is their home base, a place they enjoy. And they don't want to be destroyed by those untouchables. You must know that they only had 200 bullets in hand, and they directly gave 150 bullets to defend the first floor, so their goal is not only to defend, but also to shoot all those untouchables outside the cruise ship. Moreover, several deputy city lords of Ocean City have basically seen clearly the strength of Wu Jin and others. Wu Jin and his group only have about 70 people, although 50 of them have guns, and there seems to be a lot of ammunition. But sometimes, not just anyone can kill someone with a gun. Their soldiers in Ocean City are basically veterans, professional bodyguards, etc., who are very skilled in gun shooting. Looking at Wu Jin's group of people, most of them look like novices. This is also the reason why several deputy city lords are very confident. They gave Captain Danny 150 bullets, but they didn't require Danny's men to kill an enemy with one bullet. They only needed 2 bullets to kill an enemy. Several deputy city lords have this confidence in the soldiers on their side. When Danny, the security captain of Ocean City, came to the first floor of the cruise ship with his men, he soon saw Wu Jin and others who were preparing to attack the cruise ship. Danny couldn't help but laugh. These men were wearing refugee camp clothes and had sallow complexions. Some of them could not even hold their guns steady. Just these people. Although Danny doesn't know how Wu Jin and the others obtained so many guns and ammunition, but those losers have guns, but it's all in vain. Seeing the soldiers around him who were wearing sophisticated combat uniforms and having strong backs and shoulders, Danny was also full of confidence at this time. They can kill as many Chinese people as they come. At this time, Wu Jin and the others looked at the super cruise ship in front of them. As long as they could capture this cruise ship, they would be completely victorious. The auxiliary soldiers rush forward with shields. The first and second teams hide behind the shield soldiers, and the other teams provide fire suppression. Yes, brothers, for the sake of our freedom, for the sake of revenge for our relatives and compatriots, come to me. Following Wu Jin's order, everyone's emotions have indeed been aroused, and they have long wanted to take revenge. Kill, bang, bang. Several teams responsible for fire suppression took the lead in shooting at the cruise ship, but they basically didn't know where the enemies on the cruise ship were hiding, so they just shot at random. Then the auxiliary soldiers held up their shields and walked toward the cruise ship with some trepidation. In fact, when they planned to stand up and resist, they were already prepared to face death. But when faced with such a scene, many people are still scared to death. On the cruise ship, Danny looked at the Chinese slowly walking to the entrance of the cruise ship with a cruel look on his face. Then he gave an order to his soldiers. Attention everyone, everyone first reports the target they want to shoot, and then shoots for me. Don't waste bullets. Yes, Captain Danny. Bang, bang. Danny's team began to aim and shoot. Some of their bullets hit the opposite shield directly, making a dull impact. A few bangs. Some people's shields on Wu Jin's side simply took off their hands and fell to the ground. I don't know whether the shield was knocked off his hand by the huge force of the bullet, or whether he was too frightened to hold the shield without the shield to block it. The bullets fired from the cruise ship suddenly became more intensive. Some people on Wu Jin's side were immediately hit by bullets, and then fell to the ground, groaning in extreme pain. Escape. First, in just an instant, there were 5 or 6 casualties. Wu Jin quickly had people evacuate first. Danny on the yacht also immediately asked his soldiers to change their ambush position. After all, their firing just now had exposed the positions of some of them. Chapter 292 Li Xiaoluo's Remote Command. Captain Wu Jin, what should we do? The enemy firepower on the cruise ship is so fierce, it will be difficult for us to rush to the cruise ship. Wu Jin scratched his head. He didn't know what to do for a while. If these people are all well-trained veterans, then they are suppressing fire while charging, and they may have landed on the cruise ship by now, but most of them are new recruits, and they have only just learned how to shoot a gun. So the person responsible for suppressing fire just now pulled his crotch, and the person responsible for charging even stretched his crotch. The thugs on the cruise ship still have a geographical advantage. If Wu Jin lets people continue to charge like this, the casualties will definitely be huge. Just when Wu Jin and the others were at their wits' end, swish swish, Wu Jin's walkie-talkie rang. Wu Jin's face suddenly became happy because it was Mr. Li who called. Wu Jin, you arrange for people to find some prisoners from the cherry blossom country and the kimchi country, and then get some clothes from the compatriots in the refugee camp for them to change into, and put helmets on them to cover their faces. Then let them hold up their shields, charge with a gun, but of course, they don't need to feed bullets to their guns. When Wu Jin heard that it was Li Xiaoluo's order, he immediately nodded in agreement. Anyway, he had no good solution now. However, Wu Jin quickly led a team of people to execute it himself. There were many prisoners from the Sakura and Kimchi countries who surrendered, but naturally no one wanted to be cannon fodder, let alone work for Wu Jin, a Chinese after all. Before today, their status in Ocean City was much nobler than that of Wu Jin and others. Many captives from Sakura country and Kimchi country were unable to accept the change in status for a while, and naturally they were even more unwilling to obey. However, after Wu Jin killed several people directly and promised that this would be their chance to make up for their mistakes and survive, some people who were afraid of death immediately stood up. Soon, Wu Jin found 40 prisoners from the Kimchi country and the Sakura country, and then asked them to change into the clothes of the Chinese people in the refugee camp, and all of them put on helmets to cover their faces. In this way, the thugs on the cruise ship would not be able to recognize that they were from Sakura country and Kimchi country. Everything is ready. Wu Jin looked at the 40 prisoners and said, "You are all very good. You are willing to change your past and obey our arrangements, so you can rest assured that as long as we can attack this cruise ship and win the final victory, you will be there when the time comes. After your victory, you will definitely receive greater treatment than those stubborn guys." A translator was immediately sent to translate Wu Jin's words to the 40 prisoners. Ken Sanhamida. Many prisoners of the Kimchi kingdom quickly bowed to Wu Jin to thank him. Anyway, they were third-class citizens on this cruise ship before, and their treatment and status were not very high, so they didn't want to be loyal to Ocean City. They were even thinking that if Wu Jin and other Chinese people really won, then they might be able to become second-class citizens or even first-class citizens in the future after they have made meritorious service. Even if these Chinese people lose in the end, they can still say that they were forced. They just do it as a last resort to survive. Anyway, their mission is to pretend to charge without causing harm to the people on the cruise ship. Okay, everyone, raise your shields and start charging. The supervising team is responsible for supervising the charge. If anyone dares to retreat or send a message to the enemy, he will be shot immediately. Fire team, continue to provide fire cover. As soon as Wu Jin's order was issued, 20 Sakura Kingdom prisoners held up shields and guns in their hands and began to charge towards the cruise ship. Although these 20 Sakura Kingdom prisoners have guns in their hands, they actually have no bullets. Wu Jin will definitely not trust them, and then let them have bullets in their guns, otherwise, they might be aiming their guns at whom. The reason why the prisoners were allowed to hold empty guns was mainly for show, in order to paralyze the thugs on the cruise ship. Wu Jin's Mr. Li's intention should be to use these prisoners to consume the ammunition of the thugs on the cruise ship, but Wu Jin feels a little confused. The thugs on the cruise ship don't have so little ammunition, right? But Wu Jin didn't raise any objection before, but he thought Mr. Li's method was quite good. Anyway, these charging people are prisoners of Sakura country and Kimchi country, and they are people who have bullied them before. If they die, they will die. If it can consume some of the enemy's ammunition, it is also a waste. Bang, bang. After a burst of intensive firepower output from both sides, Wu Jin's charge collapsed again. 20 prisoners of Sakura Kingdom, 4 casualties, but Captain Danny on the cruise ship was very proud at this time, because they haven't had any casualties so far, but those damn Chinese people, after 2 rounds of charges, have now suffered at least 8 or 9 casualties. Captain Danny is naturally proud of this kind of victory. It can even be said that Danny is the savior of Ocean City. Adjutant, how many bullets have we consumed in total? Captain Danny asked his assistant. Captain, after 2 rounds of fighting, we have consumed a total of 19 bullets. Hearing this, Captain Danny frowned. With this amount of ammunition consumption, if on a pre-apocalyptic battlefield, only 19 bullets were used to cause 8 or 9 casualties to the enemy, it would definitely be considered a very powerful victory. This amount of ammunition is almost negligible, but now, every bullet they have is very precious, Danny said with a cold face. Give all the team members another order. Everyone should find their own targets, and then confirm each other before shooting. Don't shoot the same target as others, and then shoot more accurately for me. The adjutant nodded and quickly conveyed Danny's order. Then the adjutant smiled and said, Captain, you think too highly of those Chinese people. With their current high casualties, they may have been too scared to charge anymore, Captain. Danny glared at the adjutant. Don't talk nonsense. If those people don't dare to charge anymore, it may not be a good thing. The adjutant was stunned for a moment and then immediately realized that this was indeed the case. Fortunately, the adjutant's words didn't work. Wu Jin replaced another 20 prisoners from the Kimchi nation, and then began to prepare for a new round of charge. But this time, Xialuo gave Wu Jin a new order. Wu Jin, when the prisoners charge, let a few of your men who are not very good at marksmanship continue to suppress fire. Wu Jin was stunned after hearing this order. What does Mr. Li mean, using someone with poor marksmanship to provide suppressive fire? Are you afraid of hitting the enemy? Fortunately, Xialuo quickly explained to Wu Jin, then you ask everyone else to hide themselves and aim their guns at the second house on your left. When the enemies on the cruise ship open fire, just fire all of you, no need to save bullets this time. Yes, Mr. Li. Wu Jin responded. Wu Jin was a little curious. Why did Mr. Li seem to know where the thugs on the cruise ship would be hiding this time? When Wu Jin and his men used fire suppression before, the reason why it didn't have much effect was because the thugs on the cruise ship were too cunning, and they shot on different places every time. Chapter 293. Mr. Li can't be so awesome, right? But Wu Jin didn't think much about it. Mr. Li must be right. After everything is arranged, attack. So, the new group of prisoners responsible for charging began to move forward again, while those responsible for fire suppression continued to shoot at the cruise ship, but their marksmanship was a bit random. When the prisoners holding shields came to the cruise ship boarding gate again, bang, bang, in a certain room on the cruise ship, several people suddenly appeared with guns and shot at the charging prisoners. Originally, according to the fighting method of the thugs on the cruise ship, they would suddenly appear and shoot for a round, and then immediately hide again. This process probably won't take more than 10 seconds. This is also the reason why Wu Jin and the others could only watch their own people being killed during their previous charges, but could not kill the thugs on the cruise ship because Wu Jin and the others may have just seen the shooting thugs, and then those thugs changed positions and hide again. But this time it's different. This time, under Li Xiaoluo's reminder, Wu Jin and the others had already been aiming at a place. What no one expected was that thugs on the cruise ship actually emerged from this place. So, at the moment when the thugs on the cruise ship fired at the charging prisoners on Wu Jin's side, Wu Jin's combat team also immediately opened fire on the thugs on the cruise ship. There are almost 40 people in Wu Jin's combat team. Although most of them have poor marksmanship, they may not be able to hit others even if they stand still, but Wu Jin arranged for a lot of people to shoot. This time 40 people shot at one place at the same time. The dense bullets could almost cover an entire area, and there was no need to save bullets. In almost 10 seconds, each of the 40 people shot 3 or 4 times in a row, knocking the thugs on the cruise ship into confusion. Among the thugs on the cruise ship, some subconsciously fought back, some were directly shot to death, and some were so frightened that they hurriedly hid. Soon, the gunfire stopped. Wu Jin asked the charging prisoners to retreat again. The prisoners responsible for the charge this time were very happy, because not only did no one die this time, not even a single person was injured. Captain Danny on the cruise ship was furiously listening to the adjutant's report. Captain Danny, in the battle just now, we successfully repelled the enemy's charge, but our soldiers suffered 6 casualties and consumed 50 bullets. The enemy consumed at least 200 bullets, but they had no casualties. Danny's face looked very ugly. How could this happen? Why did the enemy have so many casualties in the previous 2 charges, but they still dared to continue charging without fear of death? These Chinese are not real soldiers. How can they be so brave, especially this time? Why did the enemy seem to know where they were hiding and just wait for them to show up? Is it a coincidence, or does the enemy have any reconnaissance equipment, such as drones? But Danny had been watching the situation on the other side personally and didn't see any equipment such as drones. However, before Danny had time to think about it, the enemy on the opposite side was mobilizing stormtroopers to prepare for a new charge. Adjutant, divide some of your people to ambush at the other 2 locations. Then we will take turns shooting at the 3 locations. Also, let the soldiers immediately change their shooting points every time they repel the enemy. Danny decided not to let his soldiers gather together, instead spread out and shoot the enemies. In this way, even if the enemy knows where they are ambushing, they will not be able to concentrate their firepower on them. Yes. The adjutant quickly conveyed Danny's order. Then Wu Jin's prisoner team began to charge again, and the 17 Sakura Kingdom prisoners who were still alive in the first group moved forward cautiously. The fire team continues to be responsible for suppressing fire. Bang, bang. This time, the bullets of the thugs on the cruise ship seemed to be filled with anger, and they fired continuously at Wu Jin and his vanguard from several directions. The vanguard's charge did not last for 30 seconds before the thugs on the cruise ship beat the vanguard to the point of losing their armor and fled, and this time the casualties were even greater. With a total of 7 casualties, Wu Jin naturally didn't feel anything, because anyway, the casualties were some Sakura Kingdom prisoners. However, a group of these Sakura Kingdom vanguards were very speechless. Why is it that even though they are cannon fodder, they are always the ones injured? There were originally 20 people in their group, but now there are less than 10 people still standing. It can be said that they were extremely frightened, but there are still 20 people standing in the second group of 20 vanguards, and there are no casualties. They can't figure out why this is happening. As for Danny, the captain on the cruise ship, he was also very distressed at this time, even fearful, because after he separated his soldiers this time, his men seemed to have not been attacked, so there were no casualties among his men this time. However, because his men were scattered this time, they could not effectively communicate with each other when attacking, causing everyone to attack independently, and because of the anger from the previous time, his men also started fighting. In this way, according to the statistics of the battle just now, Danny and the others have consumed more than 50 bullets. What does this mean? Only Danny knows. This means that the total number of bullets they have left is less than 30, and there seem to be 50 or 60 enemies. So unless they can kill 2 enemies with 1 bullet, they have already lost. Hurry up and gather all the soldiers together. We can't separate them anymore, Captain. Danny had no choice but to give the adjutant another order. Now he has to get all the soldiers together, and then he has to think about every bullet before shooting. Now Danny's only hope is that if the enemy suffers too many casualties, it will lead to their own defeat. He has read military theory. When an army's casualties exceed 30%, it is theoretically on the verge of collapse. Only a very elite army can still have the courage to continue fighting despite heavy casualties. Danny didn't believe how much morale the rabble on the other side had, so Danny pinned his hopes on the enemy's next charge. This time, he would definitely let go and shoot as many enemies as possible. Even if they use up all their bullets, they won't hesitate. Soon, Wu Jin ordered the second group of stormtroopers to charge again, and Wu Jin received an order from Li Xialuo, asking all of them to aim at another place. Wu Jin and his men all have strange eyes. Mr. Li can't be so awesome, right? But when the second group of stormtroopers approached the cruise ship, the thugs on the cruise ship opened fire. The soldiers on Wu Jin's side who had been aiming for a long time also opened fire. Bang, bang, bang. For a moment, there was a lot of gunfire, and they were shooting at each other as if they were free of charge. However, Danny discovered that not only did he fail to defeat the enemy, but just like last time, the enemy predicted their ambush point and killed them with heavy casualties and extremely low morale. In fact, there were a lot of soldiers in Ocean City. And Danny didn't care if some soldiers were killed, but now they only have people and no ammunition. FK, raise the white flag, we surrender. Chapter 294 Victory. Captain Danny of Ocean City surrendered with his remaining soldiers. There is no way, they have tried their best. I really can't beat him, there are really no bullets left. If they don't surrender, they will die. Of course, Danny and the others could also run upstairs and join the deputy city lords, but Danny and the others were really scared of being beaten this time. And they also saw the strength of Wu Jin and the others, and Danny also knew the strength of those deputy city lords. Although they still have a lot of people under their command, they also don't have much ammunition. Even if Danny ran up with his men, the final result would be either death in battle or surrender. Therefore, Danny might as well just surrender now. Not only Danny, but his men also think so. After all, when they had guns and bullets, they couldn't beat them. Now that they have no ammunition, who can still think about fighting? No. Who is willing to die? Looking at the white flag raised on the cruise ship, Wu Jin sent someone to check it first. After confirming that it was not a trap, Wu Jin took everyone under his command to board the cruise ship and controlled Danny and the others. After taking control of Danny, Wu Jin immediately interrogated him, and then almost knew what was going on the cruise ship. Now on the cruise ship, the only remaining resistance forces are the deputy city lords. Danny explained that although the deputy city lords gathered 300 to 400 people on the top floor of the cruise ship, they planned to make a final resistance. However, they actually don't have much ammunition anymore. The 300 to 400 people on the top floor may only have 30 or 40 bullets to survive. The original plan of the deputy city lords was to have a street fight with Wu Jin and the others on the cruise ship. After all, this super cruise ship is like a huge maze. Those of them who have lived on the cruise ship for several months are naturally very familiar with the cruise ship, but when they saw Wu Jin and others, they subconsciously thought that it was very easy to deal with Wu Jin and others, and there was no need to make it too troublesome. So he gave most of the weapons and ammunition to Danny, and then wanted him to directly eliminate the rebels like Wu Jin. Danny was also full of confidence. He looks down on Wu Jin and the others at all, but Danny never thought that until the ammunition was exhausted. His men's casualties seemed to be greater than Wu Jin's. Danny still can't figure out how he lost. Wu Jin, a native of China, can tell at a glance with his many years of combat experience that many of them may not even be considered recruits. The shooting skills are random, and even after hearing the gunshot, people may be trembling with fear. However, after several repeated charges, Wu Jin and the others' morale did not collapse. They also killed his men to death and used up all his ammunition. Thinking of this, Danny couldn't help but ask Wu Jin his question. He really wants to know how on earth he lost. Danny is now a prisoner, and Wu Jin has nothing to hide. Then I briefly talked about what happened. Only then did Danny realize that starting from the subsequent charges, those responsible for the charge and dying each time were prisoners from the Sakura country and the Kimchi country. No wonder, no matter how many people die in each charge, there will be a second charge immediately. Danny and the others were not given a chance to breathe at all. No matter how much Danny and the others killed, it would not have any impact on Wu Jin's morale. On the contrary, the more Danny and the others kill, the people on Wu Jin's side will only feel that they are killing each other, and the people on Wu Jin's side will feel very happy. Of course, the main reason why Wu Jin and the others won the final victory was because there was a very magical person behind them. Danny didn't know what Wu Jin meant by magic, But Danny also understood that the reason why people like Wu Jin suddenly rebelled and were able to defeat him was entirely because of the person named Xialuo. Wu Jin did not continue to talk nonsense with Danny and the others. Now that they knew the strength of the last group of thugs on the top floor of the cruise ship, they naturally had nothing to worry about. Then Wu Jin used the previous method and selected some people from the surrendered prisoners such as Danny, plus the previous prisoners from the Sakura country and the Kimchi country, to form a 40-person prisoner vanguard. When Wu Jin led the team to the top of the cruise ship, Wu Jin asked a group of captive vanguards to hold shields and then charge with guns. Of course, this time Wu Jin also generously sent a few bullets to the prisoners of the vanguard. Mainly so that they could fire a few shots, so as to trick the thugs on the top floor into shooting back. Soon, the gunfire from the top floor went out. Swish swish, Mr. Lee, we have captured the top floor of Blue Star Sun Never Sets, and now the entire cruise ship has been occupied by us. No, the entire Ocean City has been occupied by us. On the boat in refugee camp number 18, Wu Jin's somewhat excited voice came from Xialuo's intercom, and some cheers from others. Don't blame them for being excited. Wu Jin and the others really didn't expect that after being caught in this hell, they would one day regain their freedom. You can even take revenge yourself. As for Wu Jin's situation, Xialuo has actually been monitoring it, therefore, Xialuo naturally knew about Wu Jin's victory immediately. Then Xialuo looked at this huge ocean city, and suddenly he had a good idea in his heart. Xialuo said on the intercom, Wu Jin, you did a good job this time. I promised you that as long as you have the courage to stand up and resist, you will not only get revenge, but also get freedom and generous rewards. Mr. Lee, thank you. Wu Jin said respectfully through the intercom. Then Wu Jin said again, Mr. Lee, what should we do next? Please give us your instructions. In fact, everyone in Wu Jin was quite uneasy at this time, because Xialuo was too mysterious to them. They don't know how Xialuo will treat them now after victory. Xialuo arranged the following tasks for Wu Jin on the intercom. First, take all the thugs in Ocean City to the boats in the refugee campus for their life and death. It's up to you to do whatever you want. By the way, all thugs who can sail boats will be detained in isolation first. Don't kill the other thugs. You can take revenge as you wish. Even all Chinese people can. Second, I need to select a group of female escorts for my woman, so you gather all the women in Ocean City on the super cruise ship. Third, after you find all the food in Ocean City, you can divide it among yourself. As for how to distribute it, whether it should be given to compatriots who did not participate in the operation, it is all up to you. Hearing Xialuo's words, Wu Jin and the others were really stunned. Xialuo provided them with weapons and food, spent so much effort, and then supported them to defeat the controller of Ocean City. In the end, Mr. Lee didn't want any prisoners as slaves, nor food. Then what is he for? Chapter 295 Recruiting 200 female soldiers to implement a new plan. Wu Jin and the others worked very efficiently. By the afternoon, they had done all the things Xialuo asked them to do. During this period, the entire Ocean City was filled with cheers after cheers, followed by some unwilling curses and screams. The cheers were naturally due to the fact that after Wu Jin and his friends won the victory, they began to rescue the Chinese people in all the refugee camps. Naturally, they received a warm welcome every time they arrived at a refugee camp. When facing foreign enemies, our own people are still the most kind. As for the screams, it is naturally a carnival of revenge. All the invading thugs, except for some people who can drive ships, as Li Xiaoho specially told them, the other thug prisoners are at their disposal, so the fate of those thugs depends on whether they have committed any crimes in the past. Those who kill will be killed, those who humiliate others will be put to death. Although the scene is a bit cruel, everything can only be said to be retribution. Xialuo has no interest in killing people. His main purpose is to destroy this Ocean City, even if it is to avenge his previous life. So Xialuo didn't go to see those bloody scenes, and took Alice and the others directly to the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship. Now on this super cruise ship, all the women in Ocean City are gathering. There are almost 1,000 women in total, which is still a very large number. Moreover, there are women of different ages, as well as women of different countries and skin colors at this time. All the women gathered in the lobby on the first floor of the cruise ship were actually feeling very anxious. The gunfire in Ocean City naturally reminded them that there was a war here, and now the attackers were victorious in this way. It means that the previous ruler has been overthrown. It also means that the previous order will also change. The new ruler will definitely have a new order. No one knows if it is good or bad. Of course, most women don't actually care too much, because before Ocean City, the lives of all of them were already very miserable. They are insulted by many men every day, and then get very little food every day. Even foreign girls are basically treated the same. After all, there is too little food after the end of the world, and riots will occur if men don't have enough to eat. And only when men are full can they go out to find more supplies. Women are different. Their role is to give men vent, and even if they are starved, women have no ability to cause riots. Therefore, the women in Ocean City basically lived a miserable life. Many women were tortured to death and starved to death. This also led to some women not paying much attention to the turmoil in Ocean City. After all, it was already miserable. How could it be any worse? The reason why Xialuo gathered all the women in Ocean City was not because Xialuo wanted to take in all the women here. Xialuo has never been a kind person. There are too many miserable people in the apocalypse, and Xialuo cannot help them. But Xialuo wants to select 200 people from these women. In fact, Xialuo's territory is not short of people now, and his territory still has enough manpower. Otherwise, Xialuo would not have established several strongholds outside, and then let the women he found later stay inside the strongholds to train. However, Xialuo wanted to recruit a group of women again this time. In fact, it was an idea that suddenly came to him. The main reason was not because the Taoyuan leader was short of manpower, but it is prepared for the third disaster, because only Xialuo knew that after the third disaster came, many meteorites would fall from the sky, and inside those large and small meteorites, there are crystals that are very important to superpowers. Those crystals can be used to awaken and upgrade superpowers. Xialuo was not greedy at first. He currently has 2 territories in Taoyuan territory, and each territory has a large number of female soldiers. When the third disaster comes, he will dispatch all female soldiers from the 2 territories, then try to get all the meteorites in the city where he is. As for the meteorites in other cities, it's not that Xialuo has no ideas. It's that Xialuo knows that it will be very dangerous if she waits for the third disaster to send female soldiers to search for meteorites in other cities. Maybe it's like a meat bun beating a dog, and there's no coming back, unless Xialuo takes action himself, because starting from the 3rd day after the third disaster, some monsters will appear everywhere. If they are not powerful superpowers, it will be difficult for ordinary survivors to kill those monsters. So if after the third disaster strikes, Xialuo lets his female soldiers go to other cities to look for meteorites, then they may not be able to return to Taoyuan territory safely before the monsters appear on the 3rd day. But after the Ocean City was conquered, Xialuo thought that there were a lot of big ships and a large population here. Xialuo suddenly had an idea. He plans to recruit 200 women in Ocean City and train them into female soldiers. When the time comes, divide them into 4 or 5 teams and send them to several nearby cities to search for meteorites for him. Why has Xialuo changed his mind now, and is he not afraid that they will never come back? That's because Xialuo thought of a way. He planned to wait for these 200 female soldiers to be trained, and then send them by ship to several surrounding cities 2 days before the third disaster. Moreover, in addition to giving them weapons, Xialuo will also prepare some vehicles for them, so that after they find the meteorite, they can drive back to Taoyuan in time. In Xialuo's opinion, if they can be sent to surrounding cities in advance, and then when the third disaster strikes, they can spend a day collecting meteorites as much as possible, and then use more than a day to return to Taoyuan territory before the monster appears. As long as there are no special accidents, there should be no problem with time to take a step back, even if something unexpected happens then. As long as one of the 4 or 5 treasure hunting teams sent out by Xialuo can bring back a large amount of crystals to Xialuo, he will make a lot of money, because what Xialuo paid was some weapons, some cars, and of course maybe some ordinary women. However, in Xialuo's opinion, these are much less valuable than the crystals and meteorites. Don't say that Xialuo is cold-blooded and doesn't take the lives of those women seriously. In fact, on the contrary, what Xialuo asked them to do was much less dangerous than their own survival in the apocalypse. In fact, as long as they can complete the task and bring back the meteorite Xialuo wants, then they will have made a great contribution. From now on, they can become true leaders of Taoyuan. Chapter 296, Deluxe version of beef instant noodles. Everyone, please line up and don't move around or talk. Li Zirang and a few women are maintaining the order of thousands of women in the cruise ship hall. Li Zirang never thought that she would be like this. Originally yesterday, She was already disheartened and determined to die, but I didn't expect that such a magical man like Li Xiaoluo would suddenly appear. Moreover, Li Xiaoluo seems to be very kind to her granddaughter Xiao Lingling, which makes Li Ziyang also take advantage of her granddaughter. Li Xiaoluo not only gave her food, but also made her a manager at this time. More than 1,000 women in shabby clothes or with yellow faces and skinny faces stood together. And the scene was still very spectacular, but all the women were very obedient and stood there honestly without making a sound. Li Xiaoluo walked to the center of the hall, then looked at all the women, holding a loudspeaker in his hand and said, "Everyone, listen, I am the new owner of Ocean City now. My name is Li Xiaoluo, and you are all my trophies, but don't worry. I won't treat you like slaves like the previous controller. In fact, not all of you can follow me. I need to recruit 200 people. As long as you work for me, I will protect your safety and ensure that you will not starve again. And if you want to follow me, you need to have courage, and then you must pay absolute loyalty, all." The women looked at Li Xiaoluo quietly with their eyes open, and then looked shocked. None of them expected that Li Xiaoluo, the new controller, would say this. If they don't want to follow Li Xiaoluo, can they regain their freedom? But when they think about regaining their freedom, all women feel a little overwhelmed, because they don't know if what Li Xiaoluo said is true. They have never thought about where they can go after regaining their freedom, living after the apocalypse until now. The requirements of most women, or in other words, the requirements of all survivors, are very simple. As long as you don't have to go hungry, and then don't have to be caught and bullied by thugs, that's fine. If Li Xiaoluo could really guarantee their safety and provide food, then they would not want to leave at all. However, many women are obviously unwilling to believe Li Xiaoluo's words. In this apocalypse where there is no order, if Li Xiaoluo wants to recruit people to work, he will definitely find those men first. After all, men must be more useful than women, and if these women only need a word from Li Xiaoluo, they don't dare to resist at all. Can you eat enough just by working? They don't even dare to think about such a thing. Nowadays, food is so precious. However, after Li Xiaoluo finished speaking, he did not want these women to answer. He was just telling all the women his request. As for these women's messy thoughts, Li Xiaoluo believes that they will soon have none. Soon they will only have one idea, that is, believe every word they say, and then do everything possible to follow them. Li Xiaoluo looked at all the women and said, "I know you may be thinking, am I telling you big words to deceive you? Why should I say that I can protect your safety, and then ensure that you will no longer go hungry in the future? So, now I will let you see my strength." After Li Xiaoluo finished speaking, he waved his hand, and a dark heavy machine gun appeared in front of all the women. Even though many women may not have seen this hugely lethal guy, anyone with a bit of common sense will basically know its power. Even Li Xiaoluo hasn't used them after getting them. Mainly, Li Xiaoluo is a peace-loving person and doesn't like to fight or kill people. Well, actually, Li Xiaoluo only has a few of this kind of good thing, and not much ammunition, so he is a bit reluctant to use it. This time it is used to install X, but it is very suitable. Sure enough, Li Xiaoluo suddenly conjured such a killer weapon, which immediately made all the women open their mouths in shock. At the same time, he looked at the dark heavy machine gun with fear in his eyes. It was so intimidating, but whoever has such a big killer is really awesome. Wrong. Why does something seem to be wrong? Suddenly, many women reacted. Is that heavy machine gun the point? Isn't the point of why that heavy machine gun suddenly appeared? At this moment, most of the women looked at Li Xiaoluo with shock on their faces. Because they felt like their brains were going to smoke and they couldn't understand what was happening. Their world also collapsed. And the reason why not all women are shocked is because the women who stayed in refugee camp number 18 have already seen Li Charlotte's superpower. They have already seen the world. So unlike other country bumpkins who all make such a fuss, after Li Xiaoluo let all the women see the weapon, he took the heavy machine gun back into the system space. Then Li Xiaoluo waved his hand again, and suddenly hundreds of bags of rice, more than 1,000 breads, hundreds of buckets of instant noodles, and even 10 pounds of fresh beef suddenly appeared in front of the girls. When all the women saw this situation, they subconsciously pinched their flesh. Hard pain. They are not dreaming. The man in front of me is a god. God? Suddenly, all the women looked at Li Xiaoluo and their eyes became hot. No wonder Li Xiaoluo was able to defeat so many thugs in Ocean City. No wonder he said he could guarantee their safety. No wonder he said they wouldn't have to go hungry if they followed him. At this moment, all the women believed what Li Xiaoluo said, the kind that you have no doubt about. And seeing the looks on the faces of the girls, Li Xiaoluo knew that the heat was almost over, but Li Xiaoluo decided to add another fire. Li Ziling, take your men and give out a piece of bread to all the women first, so that they can fill their bellies first. Li Ziling quickly said loudly and respectfully, yes, Mr. Li. When they heard that there would be food to eat immediately, many women who were almost suffocating from hunger suddenly had bright lights in their eyes. At this moment, Li Xiaoluo was the savior in their eyes. After all, it was Charlotte Li who rescued them from the thugs in Ocean City. There is still food to eat now. What is this if not a savior? Li Xiaoluo continued. Also, cook the beef and instant noodles later and make 200 deluxe versions of beef instant noodles. The 200 people who pass my interview will have the deluxe version of beef instant noodles as their first meal today. At this moment, all the women were crazy. This is their father. They must become one of those 200 people. No one can stop it. Chapter 297. The biggest gain from this trip. When Li Xiaoluo recruits women, it has become a custom to give them some food first. After all, Li Xiaoluo's most important factor in recruiting people is friendliness, and in the apocalypse, the thing that can help survivors increase their friendliness the most is naturally food. What Li Xiaoluo lacks most is food. In addition, the reason why Li Xiaoluo showed his superpowers directly in front of these women was for two main purposes. First, if you want these women to completely believe in your words, you must also let them see the motivation to live a good life in the future. Second, the women Li Xiaoluo recruited this time all have special functions, and they will need to leave this city to perform tasks in other cities, so their loyalty is even more important. Moreover, it is not long before the third disaster, and they will have to be trained by then. Li Xiaoluo does not have time to slowly increase the loyalty of these women, so it's better to just give them a hard blow and let them see that they have superpowers. At this stage, people with superpowers have not yet appeared, and Li Xiaoluo is the only one, so in the eyes of ordinary survivors, Li Xiaoluo is almost the same as a god. With this identity, Li Xiaoluo could do more to improve their friendship food, as well as magical abilities. This is a combination of punches from the reactions of most of the women at the scene and the looks they looked at him. Li Xiaoluo knew that his trick was basically tried and true. The friendliness of all women has basically reached a very high level now. After all the women had been given bread and finished eating the bread, Li Xiaoluo officially started the interview. In fact, if Li Xiaoluo really wanted to interview more than 1,000 women one by one, even if each woman would just ask them simple questions such as how old they are and what skills they have, even if each woman only spends half a minute, more than 1,000 women will spend almost 10 hours. The amount of this project is still very large, but fortunately, Li Xiaoluo's interview method is different from anyone else's. There is no need to ask any questions in his interview. Everyone just needs to line up and take a look at him, so the speed is still very fast. Zhao Yan, friendliness level 76, potential value 16, special ability, none. Jin Guangxi, friendship level 70, potential value 15, special ability, none. Maria, friendliness level 73, potential value 19, special ability, none. Heksha Cauliflower, friendship level 50, potential value 13, special ability, none. Li Xiaoluo conducted interviews quickly, and then divided the women who had been interviewed into 4 teams. Women with a friendship score of over 70 are all in the first team. Women with a friendship score of over 60 are in the second team. Women with a friendship score of over 50 belong to the third team. As for women with a friendship score below 50, they all belong to the fourth team. In fact, all women are a little confused at this time. Originally, after all the women saw Li Xiaoluo's ability, and with Li Xiaoluo's promise, all the women were extremely excited, and they all wanted to show off their talents in front of Li Xiaoluo. As for how to perform, a good-looking woman naturally wants to show off her beauty, and a good-looking woman naturally wants to show off her figure. If that doesn't work, let them perform a chest-breaking performance, that will do. But when Li Xiaoluo started picking people, all the women were confused. Li Xiaoluo just glanced at them casually, and then they were assigned to a team. They didn't have a chance to say a word the whole time, not to mention showing them off properly. This makes all women unable to understand and very uneasy because they have no idea how their performance is or whether they have passed the assessment. Of course, no matter how many questions she has in her heart, no woman dares to stand up and ask Li Xiaoluo anything. All women after the apocalypse are still able to correct their status. Then, Both the women who had finished the interview and the women who had not yet been interviewed secretly looked at the women standing in the 4 teams who had already been interviewed. They all want to find some clues from the women in these teams to see which team's women look most like the people who passed the exam. Why is it said that he looks most like the person who passed the exam? Because of Xialuo's operation, it gives the impression that he selects women based on their appearance, such as appearance, height, body shape, breasts and hips, etc. However, many women secretly observed it for a long time, but became more and more confused as they watched, because among the 4 teams that Xialuo divided the women into, there were basically all types of women in each team. Some were young and beautiful, some were older, some had protruding looks and figures, and some were average looking, and the figure is also average. This is simply without any rules at all, so all the women had no choice but to give up. They could only wait for their fate to come after being interviewed by Xialuo anxiously. Park Zian, friendliness level 69, potential value 82, special ability, firepower, to be awakened. Li Xialuo continued the interview, and then showed a hint of excitement on his face. The woman in front of me must be a beauty from the kimchi country. The reason why she can be called a beauty is that there are not many ugly women in the kimchi country. As for whether a knife has been used on her face, it all depends on luck, but these actually have nothing to do with Li Xialuo. After all, he is not such a superficial man. What he cares about these women is not their looks at all. What Li Xialuo cares about is their loyalty and ability. This Park Ji-yun is the talent that Li Charlotte needs, and the friendliness is pretty good, so I can accept it. An hour later, all interviews with more than 1,000 women, Li Xialuo, were completed. What makes Li Xialuo happy is that there is another discovery among the women behind. Anna, friendliness 75, potential 85, special ability, metal power, to be awakened. This Anna is a blonde, blue-eyed, hot-figured foreign girl. Of course, in terms of appearance and temperament, she is still far behind Alice, but Li Xialuo is not greedy for her body, but for her superpowers. The metal-type superpower is not a metal-type superpower, but the indestructible gold belongs to the top defensive abilities. As long as Li Xialuo has this metal power, he will be safer, so Li Xialuo also took a fancy to this ability at a glance. But Li Xialuo is not in a hurry. These women are his now, so sooner or later the powers will become Li Xialuo's. This operation in Ocean City made Li Xialuo very happy. Originally, I just wanted to avenge my past life, but I also didn't allow those foreigners to dominate China's territory. But Li Xialuo didn't expect that he would gain a lot in the end. Weapons and ammunition, ships, food, beautiful women. These are actually secondary. Alice, Park Ji-yun, and Anna, these 3 women with supernatural talents, are Li Charlotte's real harvest this time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298, Women Who Don't Want to Leave. The 200 women Li Xialuo needed were quickly recruited. They are all young women whose friendliness is over 65. In fact, the friendliness is over 65, which is basically considered very high. As long as you become Li Xialuo's subordinate, there is basically no doubt about your loyalty. In addition to being highly friendly, women who can drive boats, large trucks, etc. also have priority for admission, and the women who knew that they had passed the examination showed great excitement on their faces. They finally had something to look forward to in the future, not to mention anything else. The deluxe version of beef instant noodles that Li Xialuo mentioned before was enough to excite them. Naturally, Li Xialuo would not break his promise. He had already asked Li Ziyang to lead people to prepare the meal. At this time, the tempting aroma of instant noodles has filled the entire hall. This made the hundreds of other women who were not applied for the job, their eyes turn red with envy. Not only are they unable to eat this luxurious version of beef instant noodles, they are also not protected in the future. Many women stamp their feet anxiously. They think they are pretty or have a domineering figure. Why are there no them among the 200 places? At this time, a blonde woman with blue eyes suddenly ran up to Li Xialuo. Mr. Li, please take me in. Why don't you interview me alone? Then you will know that my advantages are very outstanding. You will definitely not. You will regret keeping me. This blonde woman is a foreign girl, tall and hot, and she is also very good at Mandarin and understands some of the profound meanings of Mandarin. But Li Xiaoluo had no interest in her and didn't even pay attention to her. Li Xiaoluo looked at the women in the hall, then took a loudspeaker and said, "All women who have not passed the examination, listen, you can leave this cruise ship now." When they heard that Li Xiaoluo was really going to drive them away, the women who had failed the examination immediately panicked, and many of them even started to cry. Mr. Li, I'm very beautiful. I can't tell because I haven't washed my face right now, but my true appearance is actually very beautiful. Please keep me. I can pose in any way you want me to. Mr. Li, don't drive us away, or we will die. Mr. Li, please keep me. I will be very obedient in the future and I can only eat very little food every day. At this time, many women who didn't want to leave no longer had any fear of Li Xiaoluo. They just wanted to run to Li Xiaoluo and plead for mercy. Some women even knelt on the ground and kowtowed. They hoped that Li Xiaoluo is a kind person and will take them in because he is soft-hearted. Bang! Li Xiaoluo suddenly had a gun in his hand, and then a gunshot sounded, immediately making the scene quiet. Li Xiaoluo looked at all the women coldly. Let me say it again. Women who are not interviewed should leave this cruise ship immediately. Of course, if you really have no way out, then I can give you a suggestion. There are still many Chinese men out there. In fact, they are the ones who really overthrew and eliminated the thugs in Ocean City. I just provided them with some weapons, so they are also brave people. If you really have nowhere to go, then you can ask them and see if they are willing to take you away with them. Swish. Swish. Mr. Li, I heard gunshots coming from the cruise ship over there. Are you okay? Do you want me to bring my brothers over for support? At this time, Li Xiaoluo's walkie-talkie rang, and then Wu Jin's voice came from inside. Li Xiaoluo took the walkie-talkie and said, "It's nothing. Wu Jin, please come over by yourself. I have something to tell you." "Yes, Mr. Li." Soon, Wu Jin ran to the cruise ship alone. Mr. Li. Wu Jin stood in front of Li Xiaoluo and bowed to Li Xiaoluo very respectfully. Li Xiaoluo did not pull him away. If someone had saved him in his previous life, Li Xiaoluo would definitely bow to him. Wu Jin stood up and said, "Mr. Li, the thugs in Ocean City have basically been dealt with." When Li Xiaoluo heard this, he immediately felt that there was a lot of information, and many people must have died, but they were all damned people. Wu Jin saw that Li Xiaoluo didn't respond, so he continued, "Mr. Li, in addition to those thugs, we also searched for 365 guns in the entire Ocean City, but no ammunition was found. The other thing is food. We collected all the food together. There is a total of..." Hearing this, Li Xiaoluo waved his hand and interrupted Wu Jin's words. "Wu Jin, there is no need to report these. I have said before that all the food in Ocean City belongs to you. When you leave, you can divide it among yourself. Leave." Wu Jin looked at Li Xiaoluo blankly, and then hurriedly said, "Mr. Li, actually I came here this time because all the brothers wanted me to come and ask you. Everyone is willing to dedicate all food and other materials to you. Everyone wants to continue to follow you, but..." Li Xiaoluo shook his head. "Wu Jin, this time we just cooperated, and the cooperation was quite pleasant. This time you can trust me and have the courage to stand up and resist. I also admire you very much. We are like friends, so I said I will not treat you badly. I want to continue our friendly relationship so that we can get together easily and be like good friends when we meet again in the future. Do you understand what I mean?" Wu Jin nodded with some difficulty. He understood what Li Xiaoluo meant. Li Xiaoluo said that they are good friends now. If they want to follow Li Xiaoluo, they can only be Li Xiaoluo's subordinates, and their nature is different. What's more important is that Li Xiaoluo doesn't want to take in all of them. Then Li Xiaoluo looked at Wu Jin and continued, "I called you here just to talk to you about this issue. I will burn this Ocean City with fire when the time comes, so you should be ready to leave here as soon as possible. There are many ships in Ocean City, and you can drive away as you please from the outer ships. As for whether you leave together or separate, that is your own business. Then you will distribute the food and other supplies you find, which is the reward I promised you before. And I just released hundreds of women. If they are willing to follow anyone, they can take them away. It all depends on you. All have your own abilities." When Wu Jin heard Li Xiaoluo's words, he immediately felt that Li Xiaoluo was really good to them. The food in the entire Ocean City was divided among them, and they were allowed to leave on any boat they wanted, and the women were also allowed to choose. Li Xiaoluo didn't wait long for Wu Jin to be moved, and continued, "These are what I promised you before, and you didn't let me down, so you deserve it. But I also have a condition, that is, you must leave this area before sailing, and you must leave far away. It is best to go to other provinces and cities. Of course, you can also disobey me and continue to stay here. But if we meet again in the future, don't blame me for not thinking about today's friendship." Chapter 299 Welcome Their New Life. After Wu Jin left a Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship, he took Li Charlotte's words with him, so in the afternoon, people drove boats out of here one after another. In fact, there is no need for Li Xiaoluo to say that Wu Jin and the others will not continue to live here after all. The waters near Ocean City were full of corpses at this time, and even the nearby waters far away were blood red. This Ocean City will definitely no longer be inhabitable. By then, there might be a plague or something. In fact, if Li Xiaoluo is willing to take in Wu Jin and the others, then Wu Jin and the others will also suggest that Li Xiaoluo take them to a different place and then establish a new mountain. It's a pity that Li Xiaoluo didn't want to take them in. So Wu Jin and the others had no choice but to leave here to survive. By the afternoon, almost everyone in Ocean City except Li Xiaoluo and his people had left. The originally bustling Ocean City has almost become an empty city. However, Li Xiaoluo did not immediately leave with a woman on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship, nor did he immediately destroy the entire Ocean City, because in the afternoon, Li Xiaoluo selected some women who were urgently learning to drive a boat. Of course, if you want to take the driving license test for a medium and large ship like before the end of the world, it will actually take a long time, but fortunately, among the 200 women recruited by Li Xiaoluo, there are still talents. Among them were several women who knew how to drive ships, as well as several experienced sailors with a little training. They can basically drive the boats here. Li Xiaoluo's request to them is that they must be able to train at least 10 pilots who can drive ships today. Li Xiaoluo's order was naturally regarded by all women as an imperial edict after all. They all still remember the envy in the eyes of the more than 800 women who were not selected when they ate the deluxe version of beef instant noodles before, and the sadness when those women left, so they all cherish being able to stay and follow Li Xiaoluo, and will resolutely obey Li Xiaoluo's orders, because some women already have the foundation of sailing. They can learn the skills of sailing quickly. Of course, the main reason is that Li Xiaoluo did not ask how good their skills are. They can open the post-apocalyptic waters however they want. In the evening, Li Xiaoying directed several women in charge of logistics to prepare a sumptuous dinner. The woman who is still on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets will officially become Li Xiaoluo's person from today on, so Li Xiaoluo asked someone to cook a sumptuous dinner to celebrate. Of course, we will continue to win over people's hearts. It's not that Li Xiaoluo has more food, but the treatment he gives them is better than the women at Stronghold Number 1 and No. 2. The main reason is that Li Xiaoluo will need them later, and they will also have to undergo a period of female soldier training, so they must eat well and maintain their health. In addition, food is also used to increase their loyalty. In this way, the following tasks can be left to them with more confidence, and when they go out to perform tasks in the future, they will work even harder to complete the tasks assigned by Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo is naturally not a kind person, and he will not do business at a loss. After dinner, Charlotte, Li and Alice stayed on the top floor of the Blue Star Sun Never Sets, and then let Alice stand by the window of the room, while Charlotte lay behind her and enjoyed the scenery outside the ship with her. Unfortunately, it was dark outside at night and there was no scenery to enjoy. Li Xiaoluo could only concentrate on driving. Early the next morning, Li Xiaoluo brought Alice, whose face was radiant and her face became more charming, to the first floor of the cruise ship. All the women were already waiting for Li Xiaoluo, with sincere smiles on their faces. The eyes looking at Li Xiaoluo were also filled with gratitude. After all, their lives now are much better than before, no longer have to live like a walking zombie as before, and then die of hunger, disease or torture. After breakfast, Li Xiaoluo began to make arrangements to leave here. There are actually many ships in the entire Ocean City. In addition to the dozen or so ships that Wu Jin and the others left when they left, there are also many other ships. Naturally, it is impossible for Li Xiaoluo to sail away all of them. In addition to the super cruise ship Blue Star Sun Never Sets, Li Xiaoluo also asked the women to select 10 medium and large ships, basically between 500 and 1,000 tons. The ship Li Xiaoluo wants does not need to be too large, but it cannot be too small either. The reason why I choose to take the boat away is not too big or too small, mainly because of several factors. First of all, The tonnage of the ship must not be too small, because Xialuo will use them to transport troops in the future, and also transport vehicles on the ship. The tonnage must not be too small. Secondly, the tonnage of the ship does not need to be too large, because a ship that is too large will be very troublesome to drive and consume a lot of fuel resources, such as gasoline, are also very scarce in the post-apocalyptic world. Even if Xialuo has hoarded a lot. But if it is used to refuel such a large ship, it will not be enough. So large ships are good, but if they don't have enough fuel by then and they're stuck, how can they drive them to other cities? In addition, the ship is too big, and Xialuo's system space cannot be accommodated. At Xialuo's request, the women who knew more about ships quickly selected 10 ships, which were definitely the most valuable among the same tonnage. Then all the women worked together to clean all the dirty things on the 10 ships. As for everything else in Ocean City, there is no need to exist. Xialuo asked someone to get a few barrels of gasoline and poured it on the boat in Ocean City. After everything is done, the girls drove a total of 11 ships, including the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship, and slowly left Ocean City. After leaving Ocean City a few hundred meters away, all 11 ships stopped. Then Xialuo teleported back to Ocean City, took out a grenade from the system space and threw it over. After a loud bang, the fire also began to spread in Ocean City. Of course, Xialuo had already teleported back to the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship. Keep going. Xialuo gave the order. Then Xialuo's fleet started to move again, but many women were standing by the railing on the ship, looking at the raging fire in Ocean City. With this fire, the corpses, filth, and sin of Ocean City will all be reduced to ashes, and they will also say goodbye to everything in the past, and then welcome their new life. Chapter 300. Lord, is this the military base you are talking about? When Xialuo and his fleet appeared near the #1 stronghold hotel where Zhao Mimi and the others were, he naturally aroused the attention and even panic of the women in the entire stronghold. After all, Xialuo left here all night yesterday and hasn't come back yet. If such a large fleet comes to cause trouble for them now, how can they resist? Fortunately, Zhao Mimi and the others saw Xialuo on the deck, and their faces suddenly showed smiles. Seeing Xialuo appear, and with so many big ships, Zhao Mimi and the others knew without thinking too much that Xialuo must have solved the danger, and they were safe now. On the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship, Alice stood on the deck, and she could naturally see a group of excited women over there at the hotel. Alice pointed to the hotel that was not flooded, looked at Xialuo with some surprise and said, "My dear, is this your shelter?" The reason why Alice was surprised was because in Alice's mind, Charlotte Lee was a very mysterious and powerful man. Even the previously powerful Ocean City was easily destroyed by Xialuo, and before Xialuo took a liking to Ocean City, he disbanded and burned the entire Ocean City. In Alice's mind, Charlotte Lee must have a larger shelter, or a more prosperous shelter, so that's why Charlotte Lee doesn't like Ocean City at all. However, if Charlotte Lee's shelter is just a hotel that has not been flooded, then it is a bit different from what Alice thought. In Alice's mind, how could such a magical and powerful man like Charlotte Lee live in such a small place, if he really lived here before? Wouldn't it be better for him to stay in Ocean City? Charlotte explained to Alice casually, "My territory is called Taoyuan territory. This is not my territory, it is just a small stronghold belonging to my territory, but this place is not far from my territory, and all ships will dock here in the future, so if I encounter any dangerous situation, I can rush over as soon as possible." Alice quickly took Xialuo's arm. "My dear, won't you live on a cruise ship in the future?" Xialuo shook his head. Naturally, he would not live on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship. Although this super cruise ship is very large, especially the facilities on the top floor are very luxurious, it is actually quite good as a residence. However, Xialuo knew that this flood would not last long, so these boats would not be of much use in the future, and whether it's in terms of safety or comfort. Of course, living in Longting Villa #1 is more comfortable, while living in Wutuangyang community is more like a home. Therefore, Xialuo has these two residences, which can meet his needs. Naturally, he will not change to another residence. Alice struggled for a moment, and then said, "My dear, will you take me to your paradise?" Xialuo smiled slightly. "Of course, you are special, so I will naturally take you to Taoyuan Ling. It is safer there, and there is water, electricity, and more food, making it more suitable for life." Hearing what Charlotte said, Alice's face suddenly showed a charming smile. "Honey, you are so kind." Apparently, Li Xiaoluo said that she was special, which made Alice feel very happy, but of course Alice doesn't know that the special thing Li Xiaoluo said is that Alice has supernatural talents. Otherwise, Alice may have no choice but to stay on the blue star sun never sets and become a canary raised by Charlotte Li. Charlotte looked at Alice again, but there is one thing I still have to tell you in advance. Alice opened her dark blue eyes wide. Dear, what's the matter, Li? Xiaoluo smiled and said, it's not a big deal. It's just that when I go to the territory, you have a lot of sisters. Do you understand what I mean? Alice nodded. I understand, you just have too many women. But in this doomsday, you are so powerful. In fact, I have thought of it a long time ago. Hearing Alice's words, Charlotte felt relieved, thinking that Alice, a foreign girl, would not accept such a thing easily. It seems that people can adapt to the environment. After all, even now, even the fool knows that all the rules before the end have long since ceased to exist. In fact, if she were an ordinary woman, Li Xiaoluo would not even say what she just said, because Li Xiaoluo has no shortage of women at all now. Even if she is a beautiful woman, if she still doesn't know her place clearly, then Li Xiaoluo doesn't mind raising them directly. Just being a canary, however, Alice not only has supernatural talents, but also has thunder powers. She will also be a powerful combat force in the future even with this special ability. Li Xiaoluo is very coveted, therefore, Li Xiaoluo has always been more concerned about such outstanding talents. We will also give you some special treatment. The premise is that they themselves must be obedient. After Li Xiaoluo let the fleet dock near Stronghold Number 1, Li Xiaoluo did not go to the hotel to pick up Xiaomimi and the others, nor did he take Alice back to Taoyuan to pick them up. Li Xiaoluo greeted them and asked them to wait. Li Xiaoluo drove his small speedboat and returned to the sub-territory of Wutuangyun community first. Li Xiaoluo's main purpose of coming here was naturally to find Lin Mengxin. Speaking of which, the entire female soldiers in Taoyuan command were basically trained by Lin Mengxin. Even the new recruits were trained by the female soldiers trained by Lin Mengxin. Therefore, Lin Mengxin has made outstanding contributions to the Taoyuan leader's military strength. With such an outstanding talent, Li Xiaoluo naturally intends to continue to let her shine. Now there are 200 female recruits who need to be trained, and the training time is quite tight. Li Xiaoluo believes that this arduous task must be done by Lin Mengxin. After returning to Wutuangyun community, Li Xiaoluo had no intention of going upstairs and contacted Lin Mengxin directly using the walkie-talkie. I heard that the Lord asked me to train 200 female soldiers, and they would also have to perform very important tasks later. Lin Mengxin is very excited. She likes this kind of challenging things. With Li Xiaoluo's permission, Lin Mengxin selected 5 female soldiers with particularly excellent military qualities from the sub-territory to be her assistant instructors. Then Lin Mengxin and the others took Li Xiaoluo's small speedboat and returned to the blue star sun never sets together. Lord, is this the military base you are talking about? Lin Mengxin looked at the huge blue star sun never sets cruise ship. Just now Li Xiaoluo told her that she would train 200 female soldiers, and there would also be a very huge training base. Lin Mengxin still believed it to be true. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.